Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Back at you with a new video. Today is Wednesday, October 1st, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App, $ORION NWSF, or the YouTube super chat right here. We got the Cincinnati Reds versus the Los Angeles Dodgers and the National League wild card game number 2. It's going to be starting up here in just a moment. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Just beat the Red Sox. We're going to have a delay. We'll transition very smoothly, and all the teams that lost yesterday ended up finding a win. Yankees came back and beat the Red Sox. The Guardians looked very good today against the Tigers, and the Padres skunked the Cubs. So we are going to have game number 3 for all 3 teams, and we'll find out if the Reds can do the same. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Cincinnati Reds. But before that, let's get into the thumb. On the thumb, on the left, is one of the best players in the game, shortstop Ellie De La Cruz. And on the right, another shortstop, one of the best in the game, Mookie Betts. Now let's get into the starting lineups for the visiting Cincinnati Reds. Leading off for the Reds in center field, T.J. Friedl. Batting second, playing left field tonight, Spencer Steer. Batting third, DHing the former Dodger, Gavin Lux. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, right fielder, Austin Hayes. Batting fifth, playing first base, Sal Stewart. Batting sixth, shortstop phenom, Ellie De La Cruz. Batting seventh, catching today for Cincinnati, Tyler Stevenson. Batting eighth, the former Pirate, third baseman, Key Brian Hayes. And batting ninth, playing second base, Matt McLean. And on the mound for the Reds is Zach Littell. And now let's get into the starting lineups for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Leading off for the Dodgers at DH, it's showtime, Shohei Ohtani. Batting second, playing shortstop for Los Angeles, Mookie Betts. Batting third, playing first base, Freddie Freeman. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, right fielder, Teoscar Hernandez. Batting fifth, playing third base, Mad Max Muncy. Batting sixth, playing center field, Andy Pages. Batting seventh, playing left field, Kike Hernandez. Batting eighth, playing second base, Miguel Rojas. And batting ninth, catching today, is Ben Rortvedt. And on the mound for the Dodgers, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And he has been pretty solid throughout the 2025 season. Should be very, very interesting. Let me get all situated here as we're transitioning from obviously one game to the next. And let me get situated here as we're going to the next game. Hopefully they'll have everything situated for me here already. Tyler in the building, what's good? And we'll be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on the Dono train, and then 5 to 15 subs. So obviously, since the other 3 teams that lost yesterday and one today. The Yankees, the Padres, and the Guardians are going to force a game 3. It's tied up 1-1. We have a possibility of doing one of those games. I assume the Dodgers are going to win today, and this series will be over out of the matchups. And we also have Thursday night football with the Niners and the Rams. So obviously that is an opportunity to go on the NFL side. So I haven't really decided just yet. And again, it does take some time to be able to put a thumbnail and the lineups with all the photos together. So obviously the one that's going to be the most interesting to me is going to be the Guardians and the Tigers, because that's who is going to play the Mariners. But if it's on at 10 a.m., that would mean I would have to start probably prepping at like 7:30 or 8. And I still got to be able to walk my pup and eat breakfast and all that, and get all the lineups together with the pictures for both teams. So I'm not sure if I would have enough time to do a 10 a.m. start. I mean, I might if I end up starting late last night or later tonight, but we'll see. Again, there's going to be some good series. Obviously, Cubs Padres could go either way. Tigers Guardians could go either way. Red Sox Yankees could go either way. And really, the only series that we feel that's a little lopsided is this one. But the Reds did fight back after the Dodgers had a little bit of a meltdown in the pen, and they ended up scoring more runs than the other 3 teams. They got to 5. So I mean, it was 8-0 at one point, but a final of 10-5. And again, the Reds are going to need a little bit more than 5. Ellie's going to probably have to go yard once or twice, and then they just have to pray that the Dodgers don't go off. Easier said than done, especially when they're at home. So we'll see how it all kind of plays out. And again, who knows? Maybe the Reds got something up their sleeve, but Yamamoto has been very, very solid. So we will see. Navis in the building. What's good? Steven in the building. What's good? TJ in the building. What's good? Yeah, it's going to be very, very early. I mean, I watch every single game, but obviously prepping for a stream, there's a lot of behind the scenes, things that have to happen, putting the thumbnail together, not only that, getting all the tags and then getting all the photos lined up for the starting lineup for both teams. So it's a little bit more preparation than the average YouTuber does. But again, I do it not only for myself, but for you guys. So that way we have the best broadcast possible. And it's always nice to be able to match a name to a face instead of just talking about a player and not really knowing what they look like. So obviously trying to get some good HD 4K action shots and some close-up, shots of, obviously, the face and shoulder area. So that way we can kind of tell, okay, this is who this is. And obviously we know what the big, famous players look like with like Ohtani and Judge and Cal Raleigh and Schwarber and, all of the main guys. But for a lot of the people, that are watching all over the globe or in the US, you may not know some of the kind of mid players that are, role players or lower guys in the lineup, or especially guys that come off the bench or guys that are in the pen. So I feel it gives a good opportunity to not only educate myself, but it also educate you guys as well. And that way you can kind of put a face to a name and then have a full broadcast like we always do here on the NWSF. And we're getting ready here for the first pitch here in a moment. All right, Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound and TJ Friedel in the box. First pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. Friedel in the box, Yamamoto on the mound. 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees with the curveball. Back-to-back curves to start off for Yamamoto. 1 ball and 1 strike here in the top of the first. 0-0 here early between the Reds and the Dodgers. So tomorrow, again, we'll have a choice of doing one of the 3 game 3s or possibly the Niners and the Rams. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. Nice splitter there by Yamamoto. 1 ball and 2 strikes to TJ Friedel. So it's always good when we have options. And then on Friday, it doesn't look like there's anything going on. I mean, besides college football, So we might take Friday off, even though I don't really want to. And based on the times, it looks like Mariners will more than likely be, it depends on who wins between Boston and New York, but more than likely I would assume early afternoon. And I saw the schedule based on the results. And then on Sunday, the Mariners will end up playing late at 5. So I may be able to do the Seahawks and the Buccaneers first. That starts at 1:05. And then when that ends at around 4:30, it'll give me about 30 minutes to prep for the Mariner, obviously ALDS game 2, possibly if I want to go that route. Popped up all the way back to the wall. Wow, what a catch. Unbelievable. Kike Hernandez, my goodness. And again, Kike is one of those guys that, again, you know that he's going to turn it up, obviously, in the box. Normally like a 180 to 200 hitter. You don't really expect a whole lot during the regular season, but once he gets to the end of the regular season, and exceptionally in that postseason, the bat comes alive. And not only does the bat come alive, the defense starts to go on another note as well. Great catch out there by Kike Hernandez. And Spencer Steer on the first pitch there is hit on the elbow. Not ideal there for Yoshinobu Yamamoto, so he'll have to clean that up. Next up, the former Dodger DHing Gavin Lux. First pitch to Lux, high and away, 1-0 count. Yamamoto on the mound, Lux in the box going against his former team, and ended up doing a little bit of damage against his former team yesterday. And, it always means a little bit more when you play your former team, to kind of show them, you either made a mistake by trading me or letting me go, or, just trying to prove that, hey, I could still be on your team right now. It just so happens I'm here on the Reds. 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Nice splitter there that really ended up diving down to the bottom of the dirt there in the lower part of that strike zone with that splitter. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Yamamoto to Lux. One, 2 pitch. Little chopper towards first base, foul. Top of the first inning, runner at first. Steer got plunked on the first pitch there on the elbow. We got a 0-0 tie here early. 10-5 victory from the Dodgers. They were up 8-0. And then they had a meltdown in the pen. And were able to get 2 more runs after that to 10. But obviously the Reds scored 5 late. And at least made it a little bit more interesting at the end of the game. But again, as that one goes into the dirt, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Gavin Lux. But you did have Shohei Ohtani homer twice. You had Tommy Edman homer once, and Teoscar Hernandez to homer twice. So, if you're going to have Ohtani and Teoscar go twice yard, the chances of winning is like 0. So even if they end up being solo dingers, the chance of coming back from just those 2 guys, getting 2 home runs each, pretty tough. But we'll see if the Cincinnati Reds can bring their A game here today. 2-2 pitch. And broken bat, double play attempt, throw to first, and throw is just a little late. Got the force out at second. And that is 2 away. Next up is right fielder Austin Hayes. Yeah, I think Brewers Phillies are going to be the biggest threat to the Dodgers. Obviously, if the Cubs can advance, they've had a pretty good year as well. But again, all the teams that lost yesterday won today. So it's anybody's guess on who's going to win tomorrow. I don't think anyone really knows. Tigers and Guardians, either way, 50-50, no one would be surprised. Yankees, Red Sox, no one would be surprised. And honestly, Cubs and the Padres match up well this year. The Padres aren't as good as they were a few years ago, and the Cubs are much better than they've been in the last few years. So that's dead even. So really the only thing that we know for sure, at least we think, is that the Dodgers are going to win the series tonight. Oh, what a drop ball there. What was that? Wow. Runners at second and third, and Teoscar Hernandez with a little mental error there. What was that? An E9 there. Big error by Teoscar. And again, it's one thing, like one of the Guardians ended up calling up a player that was like in the farm, and he had to play his first start in game 2 early this morning in center field. And of course, a ball comes right to him, in the first inning, and he dropped it. And obviously the nerves were high and the wind was blowing. But again, when this is the playoff atmosphere, you can't have, whether it be a guy from the farm or a vet like Teoscar make mistakes like that. Let's see if the Reds can capitalize to make this game a little bit funner as we go through game number 2. Runners at second and third with 2 outs, 0-0 Reds and Dodgers. Next up is Sal Stewart. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss by Sal Stewart. No balls and 2 strikes from Yamamoto to Stewart here in the top of the first with runners at second and third. And again, the Reds haven't threatened like this in quite some time. O2 pitch from Yamamoto. Low and at the knees. Good splitter dropped quite a bit there. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Sal Stewart. Splitter was 92 miles an hour there, low and away. One-two pitch. And that one's fouled off into right field. 4-seam fastball. And Yamamoto bringing the heat. 97 miles an hour, high and inside. Tried to jam him. Top of the first inning, second and third, runners on for Cincinnati with 2 outs. And again, this is the fastest that they've been able to get guys this close from putting the pressure on Los Angeles in these first 2 games. Pitches low and at the knees, inside with the splitter missing by a couple inches. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Sal Stewart. Two pitch. And a slow dribbler to first, and it gets through all the way to Teoscar. That's going to score at least 1. Wow. And 2. Unbelievable. And just like that, 2 runs come aboard. Sal Stewart, the youngin', finding a way to hit it in between the gap all the way to Teoscar in right field. And the runners from second and third both score. And now we have a 2-0 lead. Lux, the former Dodger, scores. Austin Hayes scores. 2-0 Reds. Wow. And that's exactly what we wanted as far as, some entertainment value. We know more than likely the Dodgers are going to have a very good chance of coming back and possibly winning. But it's always cool to be able to see a little bit of back and forth. And the Reds didn't, really get on the board until the game was almost over. And they did get 5 runs with a Dodger meltdown by a few pitchers in the pen. But to actually strike first is huge. Next up is Ellie De La Cruz. And it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And we know that. And every team that lost yesterday was able to win today. Can the Reds, complete the quad out of the 4 teams to be that last team to be able to play tomorrow? Or will their season end here tonight? So far, so good with the Cincinnati Reds. Sal Stewart being a king here early. What a boss. 0-1 pitch, high and away to Ellie De La Cruz. Four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour by Yoshinobu Yamamoto. 1 ball and 1 strike to Ellie De La Cruz. And runner takes off and safe. And Sal Stewart gets into second base with no throw attempt. And a much different squad that we're seeing here with the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, they must have thought, hey, if everyone else found a way to win, why not us? We know that we're probably the worst team out of the teams that are, in the playoffs right now. There's no doubt about that, and maybe the Mets would have played them a little bit better in the series if they were able to make the playoffs. But, I mean, this is what it is, and you got to make the most of your opportunity, win, or your season is over. 2-2 pitch, low and at the knees with a splitter. 91 miles an hour by Yamamoto. We got a full count now. 3 balls and 2 strikes with Sal Stewart at second with that big 2-run RBI. And the Reds are up here early 2-0. And big swing and a miss. And Yamamoto ends up getting Ellie De La Cruz with a big swing and a miss, but not after the damage was done by a 2-run RBI single by Sal Stewart. And just like that, 2-0 Cincinnati. And honestly, if Cincinnati has any chance of winning today, this is exactly what needed to happen. They needed to score, 2 to 4 runs, probably within the first 5 innings, to kind of keep pace with the amazing Los Angeles Dodger team with all the home run hitters that they have on the squad. So good for them. There's no guarantee that they are going to win this game, but at least they're making it exciting here early on instead of it just being like, yesterday where it's like, 8-0 and it doesn't look like the Reds have any hope, even though they did get the meltdown by the Dodgers pen, which has been a little bit of a bugaboo, for them. And if the Dodgers don't end up making the World Series, the bullpen will be the reason. Next up for the Dodgers, DHing and leading off, it's Showtime. He had 2 homers yesterday. One of the best players in the game, period, Shohei Ohtani. Batting second, shortstop, Mookie Betts. And batting third, first baseman, Freddie Freeman. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes. 100 on the dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. And on the mound for the Reds, Zach Littell. Yeah, I mean, jealousy and envy are going to be real. And, some people are, delusional. And a lot of sports fans are incredibly biased for their favorite team and their favorite players. And, something I try to teach here is that you can still be all about your team and your players, but you can also have some respect and some appreciation for greatness, even if it's on the other side. Again, you're not going to have every amazing Hall of Fame player on your favorite team. And, it's always great to be able to acknowledge greatness, wherever it is, on the football field, on the baseball field, on the basketball court, on the ice, in the NHL, in a car, in NASCAR, wherever it may be. And it's just nice to be able to enjoy something, that brings people together. Doesn't matter what age or race, doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, sports brings us together, where a lot of things in life right now are trying to pull us apart. So that's the greatest thing really about sports. It doesn't really matter where you come from and what you believe in. We can come together and enjoy whatever that main matchup is for that night. 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Shohei Ohtani. Marine Bean in the building. What's good? But it looks like I will probably have time based on the Sunday time slot being released that I more than likely will be able to do Bucks and Seahawks, then the Mariners versus the Tigers or Guardians. Little flip to first and slow dribbler from Shohei Ohtani, and that's not enough, and that is 1 away. But the thing is, I got no Mike Evans. I got no Bucky Irving, more than likely. So if I don't have my RB1 and my wide receiver 1, it's very hard to beat Seattle in Seattle. So I hope that we can compete. But missing those 2 pieces might be the reason why the game might end up getting out of hand. But I'm hoping that, they can at least step it up and keep it close. Next up is Mookie Betts. First pitch in there, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. 258 average, 20 homers, and 82 ribbies in the regular season. Pitch fouled off with that sweeper right down the middle. No balls and 2 strikes to Mookie Betts. And a line drive into third base, going all the way back to the wall. What a beautiful hit for Mookie Betts. And that is a stand-up double for Mookie. God, he's a good player. And again, I know the Boston Red Sox are probably thinking, why did we ever let him go? But again, where Mookie goes, championships go. And Mookie is one of the best shortstops in the game. He has been for quite some time. He can play offense. He can play defense. He can do it all. You got a first ballot Hall of Famer here, a first ballot Hall of Famer here, and a first ballot Hall of Famer here. Next up, first baseman Freddie Freeman. And you got this guy that might not be a Hall of Famer, but Teoscar Hernandez is damn good. As the crowd chants, Freddie, Freddie. They're ready for something big here. First pitch takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, fouled off towards third base. No balls and 2 strikes to Freddie Freeman. Yeah, every Seahawk fan is hoping that you guys get the dub. Obviously, we're both 3-1. We both look like playoff teams, and we both have a chance to win the division. So obviously, yeah, every win matters. And again, it's if I had Bucky and Mike, I know it would be more even, but it's not like the Hawks don't have a few guys injured as well. But the significance of, having a wide receiver 1 Hall of Famer and Mike Evans not playing, and Bucky, who I feel is like a top 10 running back, if he's not available, that's going to be tough. Big swing and a miss, and down goes Freeman, and that is 2 away. Now we still got Rashad White and a few other backups that could still, do the job, but it's not the same as having someone like a Jahmyr Gibbs type in Bucky Irving. He really does make the difference for our team. That'll just put more pressure on Baker to do Baker type of things. All right, next up is Teoscar Hernandez. 2 down with a man at second. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count with that sinker, 93 miles an hour by Zach Littell. And 1-0 pitch is popped up, and that should be a routine play in right field. And it is, and that is out number 3. They leave one stranded, and again, the Reds still have the early 2-0 lead. Mike in the building, what's good? Obviously, every team that lost yesterday won today. Now, the Reds are the worst team that are in the playoffs in baseball. There's no question. There's no arguing or debating. It's very clear, this is the last team that got in. And, they don't really look like they belong, based on yesterday's performance. But Sal Stewart getting that big RBI early on, scoring 2 with that single. Sal Stewart obviously trying to keep them alive. But I don't think anyone assumes the Dodgers are going to lose the series. But is it possible the Reds win today, just like every other team that lost yesterday won? The Guardians won today big. And the Padres shut out the Cubs. And then the Yankees got a meltdown by the Red Sox pen, and they were able to escape and get that victory, obviously, in the end of the matchup in the 9th inning. So, you never know how it'll go. But again, we have 3 potential games that we could do for game 3, and whoever wins 2 out of 3 advances. So it's anybody's guess. Padres, Cubs, who knows? Tigers, Guardians, who knows? Yankees, Red Sox, who knows? And it's so 50-50 with all 3 of those matchups. It's probably the best I've ever seen the baseball playoffs in the wild card lineup. Besides this particular series, that's a little lopsided, but besides this one, all the others, like, you don't really know. You have an idea. You might have like a team that you want to face, if you're the Blue Jays or the Mariners, or you're the Brewers or the Phillies. But at the end of the day, nobody really knows how it's going to play out. And it definitely makes for some exciting TV tomorrow. You best believe that. And then again, they have the Niners and Rams that are on tomorrow as well. So I may end up doing that tomorrow instead of one of the, game 3s. It just kind of depends on the time. Obviously, if we do football, more people will be available because it'll be around 5:15 Pacific. People will be home from school and work, and they'll be available. But if I do any of the others, it'll be at like 10 a.m., noon, or 3, which I don't mind, but I'm not sure what the turnout would be if I end up doing, something early. Stevenson in the box. 0-1 pitch. Takes another strike. Looking there. Low and away. No balls and 2 strikes from Yamamoto to Tyler Stevenson. Pitches low and away with the splitter, 92 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Tyler Stevenson. Top of the second inning, 2-0 Cincinnati. Unfortunately, the Niners have a lot of players injured, so it's not going to be as competitive, I think. If they had some healthier guys, including Brock Purdy, big swing and a miss, and down Stevenson goes. That's 1 away. Nice punch out there by Yamamoto. I would assume the Rams are going to win. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. Niners and Rams always play each other pretty tough. But again, if you're going to have Mac Jones instead of Brock Purdy, and you have a lot of your receivers, Ricky Pearsall and a few of the other guys, Juwan Jennings, are injured, as well as losing, Nick Bosa for the year. Like, again, they lost to the Jags over the weekend, but they were 3-0 before they lost to the Jags. But, like I was mentioning to some, Niner fans, they were excited being 3-0, but it's like, who did you play? So again, as the injuries pile up and the schedule gets tougher, they will start dropping games. And that's exactly what happened with Jacksonville. They're playing a little bit better football than expected. And obviously the Niners, started off hot, but again, injuries will come back to bite you. Ke'Bryan Hayes in the box. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike looking low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Yamamoto to Ke'Bryan Hayes, the former Pittsburgh Pirate. One-two pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Ke'Bryan Hayes. Two-two pitch, low and inside at the knees with the 4-seam fastball, 98 miles an hour. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Ke'Bryan Hayes. Now, but again, anybody can beat anyone on any given Sunday, Monday, Thursday in the NFL. Even teams that are beat up and injured sometimes, find a way to keep things close. A little chopper towards third, throw to first. And that is 2 away. Just like in that Packer-Cowboy game, right? The quote-unquote experts on TV said the Packers were going to blow them out and win by a big amount. And then the Cowboys with no CeeDee Lamb, no Micah Parsons, so he got traded to the Packers, and they ended up tying at 40-40, and Dak played great. So, you never really know, what team that might be a little beat up, a little bit more motivated, and what team might be a little overconfident and a little too cocky. Next up is Matt McClain. First pitch, takes a strike looking high and inside. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss by McLean. No balls and 2 strikes from Yamamoto to McLean. Top of the second, 2-0 Reds. And Sal Stewart, the rookie, with a 2-run RBI single in the first to give him a 2-0 lead off Yamamoto, which was very, very crazy. 0-2 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Matt McLean. One-two pitch, low and at the knees with the splitter. Missing the strike zone by a few inches there. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Matt McLean. Two-two pitch. Big swing and a miss, and another punch out there by Yamamoto. And way to be. And obviously, wasn't ideal giving up that big, 2-run RBI single by rookie Sal Stewart, but it looks like he's starting to settle in. All right, let's see who's up next here in the bottom of the second for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Next up, in the 5-hole, third baseman, Mad Max Muncy. Batting second, center fielder, Andy Pages. And batting third, one of my personal favorites, left fielder today, Mr. Utility Man. Picture Dylan Moore, but just good, Kike Hernandez. And again, batting average may not be the greatest during the regular season, but a guy that can play more positions on the Dodgers than anybody else on the team. And, a lot of times he can go from 180 to 200 to, 250 to 300 in the postseason. Come up with big hits, big RBIs, big home runs, and also big defensive plays. There isn't too many people that are built like that who are just kind of below average during the regular season. And then for whatever reason, they really turn it up onto another gear in the postseason. But Kike Hernandez has traditionally done that. And, they ended up moving him, over to the Red Sox for a little bit. And then he came back to Los Angeles. And obviously, he definitely feels more at home in LA. Bottom of the second inning, 2-0 Reds. And I'm definitely going to be watching all game 3s tomorrow. We'll see if we get one here with this particular matchup between the Reds and the Dodgers. And then again, we also have the possibility of doing the Niners and the Rams. So again, once this game ends, I'll obviously be thinking about it later tonight and obviously tomorrow morning. And then if you check social media through Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram, and just the community page here on YouTube, you'll figure out what I'm doing tomorrow. Zach Littell on the mound and Max Muncy in the box. First pitch, high and away, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Right down the middle by Muncy. Great slider there by Littell. 1 ball and 1 strike to Mad Max Muncy. One pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Max Muncy. Two-one pitch. Muncy crushes it into right field, but stays in play. And a great athletic catch out there in right field by Austin Hayes. And that is 1 away. Next up is center fielder Andy Pages. But if anybody in the chat, has recommendations on what they would like to see on the stream tomorrow, I have done polls, through the community chat on the YouTube page before, but if there is something that you guys want to be able to see between Guardians, Tigers, Padres, Cubs, Red Sox, Yankees, we'll see if this ends up turning into a game 3 or not, depending on if the Dodgers end up winning it or not. And then Rams, Niners. If you guys have an idea or something that you guys would like to see, you could always type that in the chat and I can take that into consideration as well. See if we're going to get a challenge here. Trying to see if it ended up nicking him there. Pajes. Looks like it slightly did. Yeah, I just wish that game was on as the late game. You know, like if it was on as the late game Tigers and Guardians, I would have done that. You know, this is pretty much done based off the time. Little slow dribbler and throw to first. And that is 2 away. Pajes to second after Kike dribbled out there on his at-bat. Next up is second baseman Miguel Rojas. Yeah, unfortunately, that game, since it's on at 10 a.m., I would have to do a lot of prep, you know, to do that, you know, to get started on time, since I don't have a thumbnail already pre-made. And, you know, that would either mean I would have to prep it later after this stream is over if I were to do that game. And then, you know, I'd have to wake up super early, which I have no problem doing. But it's just about, you know, having enough time and being ready, you know, by the time first pitch. 0-1 pitch to Miguel Rojas, and he crushes that one into right field, foul. No balls and 2 strikes from Letel de Rojas. But I imagine, just like a lot of Seattle fans, that's the main one that we care about. You know, who we're playing next. Rojas in the box. Zach Littell on the mound. .02 pitch, high and away. Four-seam fastball, 92 miles an hour, missing the strike zone by an inch. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Miguel Rojas. Oh, and a line drive right to Ellie De La Cruz. What defense there by Ellie. And that is out number 3. Wow. And Ellie, at times, can be very electric, you know, not only when he's in the box, obviously when he's stealing bags, like with these photos here, and as well as with his defense. Nice job. So far, so good. You haven't given up the big home runs yet. End of the second inning, Reds are in control, 2-0 Cincinnati. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. We can get an update where we're at on the likes. Hopefully we're close to 50. And again, we're shooting for 100 on the likes, 100 on the dono train. Looking for our first to get us going, and 5 to 15 new subs. Let's see who's up next here for the Cincinnati Reds in the top of the 3rd inning. Back at the top of the order, 0 for 1 center fielder TJ Friedel. Batting second, playing left field today, Spencer Steer. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a run, the former Dodger, DHing today, Gavin Lux. Let him know, TJ. Appreciate you. And again, if we can just get a little bit of help from the regulars that are in the room, that'll encourage, you know, some of the other people that are just, you know, watchers. You know, they may not be people that will be typically commenting or, you know, making their presence known. But again, anyone can hit the like button, and it definitely helps the metrics. You know, I did get an email, you know, from YouTube a couple days ago saying how well we're doing on the channel. And out of all the partners, you know, on the channel and the millions and millions of videos that are uploaded every day, we are in the top 20% out of all YouTube channels, you know, for what we do. So obviously that's a great sign, you know, that we really started to gain some ground. And again, you know, the harder that you work, the better results that you're going to get. First pitch from Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Gets a strike looking outside of the zone, which should have been called ball, but called strike. First probably bad call I've seen so far, but we'll see how much of an expanded strike zone we get from this ump so far. Friedel in the box, Yamamoto on the mound. 0-1 pitch, slow dribbler. Freddie Freeman is there, toe tap on the bag, and that is 1 away. Next up, left fielder Spencer Steer. Yeah, it's really cool because, like, my buddy is so talented. You know, he can really do anything. You know, EDM, you know, R&B, hip hop, reggae, you know, alternative rock, you know, West Coast rap, East Coast rap, South rap, Northeast rap, you know, Texas rap, like any kind of style of a beat that you could possibly think of, and also things that kind of have an original vibe. You know, like maybe like a Pharrell or an Outkast kind of vibe, like super talented. And again, you know, there's things that I, you know, have access to, obviously with his permission, is only a very small sample of a lot of the other stuff that, you know, he has been making over the years. And, you know, if I talk to him, I'll see if I can get access to maybe a few more that we can add on to the playlist and whatnot. But every time I hear, you know, something that he makes, it's him. And that's what makes it special. You know, it's not trying to, you know, be someone that you're not or trying to copy someone else's style. You know, everything is done by him. And, you know, he's got all of the equipment lined up in a brand new location. And I'm proud of him, you know. And again, it's pretty rare when you can meet someone that has dreams and goals and that is actually going for it. And obviously I try to be a good example on, you know, what it is and what it takes if you want to be able to make it and how hard you have to work. 1-2 pitch. That one's fouled off towards that third base line from Yamamoto to Steer. But again, I always get excited whenever something new drops. And again, you know, sometimes when you have friends, you know, they'll be like, oh, you know, that's great, but they don't want, you know, have that person do better than them, you know. But for me, it's like, you know, I definitely encourage and definitely enjoy when I see people working hard for their dreams and goals. Puts a smile to my face. If it was easy, everyone would do it. And that's why it's so hard, you know, and a lot of people quit. Takes a lot of, you know, good toughness, mental toughness for sure. But I just love being able to have people, you know, show their creativity in whatever way that is. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and down he goes. Nice punch out there by Yamamoto again. And that is 2 away. Down goes Spencer Steer. Next up is Gavin Lux, the former Los Angeles Dodger. First pitch in there on the corner for a strike with a four-seam fastball, 0-1 count. Top of the third inning, 2-0 Cincinnati with nobody on and 2 outs. And a rookie for the Reds ended up getting a RBI, two-run RBI single, Sal Stewart. And again, you never know who might be the unsung hero. And so far, Sal Stewart is the MVP here early. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Gavin Lux. Lux pops it up, and that's in left center. And Kike Hernandez is there for out number 3. All right, let's go to the bottom of the third inning and see if the Dodgers can get on the board. Next up for the Dodgers in the 9-hole, catcher Ben Rortvedt. And imagine if they had Will Smith, again, who is considered in most circles, you know, the best catcher behind Cal Raleigh when he's healthy. Again, you got JT Realmuto and a few other guys like Salvador Perez. Will Smith was having a great year before he got hurt. So obviously having Ben Rortvedt is kind of a downgrade, but we'll see if Ben can step up here today. Batting second, 0 for 1. DHing, it's Showtime, Shohei Ohtani. And batting third, 1 for 1 already, shortstop Mookie Betts. Bottom of the third inning, 2-0 Cincinnati. Yeah, well, if every other team, found a way to win, Cincinnati's probably thinking, hell, we know that we're, in the toughest spot out of any team that's in the wild card. But, I mean, if everyone else found a way to win, why not us? And, again, great start for them to have that early lead. If the Reds did not, get on the board within the first 5 innings, the chance of them winning is probably like 5%, so for them to be able to get an early lead, and not only an early lead by 1, but getting 2, that's huge. And we know the Dodgers can score 2 in a span of 30 seconds. I mean, they're that good, but, for the time being, so far so good. First pitch to Rortvedt, high and away, takes a strike looking outside of the zone. And it looks like we're going to have an expanded strike zone here today. Another one that could have been called ball, should have been called ball, but was called strike. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, right down the middle. Good pitch there by Littell. Four-seam fastball again. No balls and 2 strikes from Littell to Rortvedt. 91 miles an hour, back-to-back pitches. Noble Tiger, I have not. And a base hit right down the line by Rortvedt. He says, Will Smith, who? And he's going in for 2. Safe. Wow. Look at him. He's like, you don't even need Will Smith. And again, when you got a guy that is filling in for one of the better catchers in the game, and again, you don't really expect a whole lot, and then he's able to do something like that. In the 9-hole, nice job, Ben Rortvedt. Next up is Shohei Ohtani. First pitch to Ohtani, swings at a slow dribbler, and that should be an easy out there at first, and got him. Runner advances. Rortvedt scampers to third, safe. Next up is shortstop Mookie Betts. I think the real big question is we need to see what the bullpen looks like, not only for the Dodgers, but also for the Reds. So yeah, the Reds are looking good here early, but what happens if they have a meltdown like the Dodger pen last night? That 2-0 lead could evaporate late if that's still the score at that point. So we don't really know. We'll have to, wait and find out. 0-1 pitch, in play, Betts, a nice single to center. Rortvedt scampers home, and just like that, 2-1 Reds. Wow. Mookie is so good, man. He can pull the baseball as good as anybody at shortstop. And again, a first ballot Hall of Famer, and gets the job done. Magic Johnson there in the crowd with a nice applause. 2-1 Cincinnati. I mean, at this point, the Dodgers could tie the game up here in a moment. Next up is Freddie Freeman. I mean, obviously, if you look at the Dodger lineup, they have better hitters than the Reds do. So it's like, Ellie De La Cruz would have to, step up, but also, some of these other guys in the lineup. I mean, they were lucky to get, a 2-run RBI single by a rookie in Sal Stewart. But what about the other guys in the lineup? Gavin Lux would have to do something against his former team. Ellie would have to have something happen at some point. And then one other player, you would assume, between Friedel, Steer, Hayes, Stevenson, Hayes, Ke'Bryan Hayes, or McLean. So, I mean, you got 2 Hayes. You got Austin and you got Ke'Bryan. So, bottom of the third, 2-1 Reds with a runner at first. Mookie with 1 out. 0-2 pitch fouled off towards that third base line. Sinker. 92 miles an hour there by Littell. Littell on the mound. Freddie Freeman in the box. 0-2 pitch and crushes it towards first base. Diving attempt. Throw to first. Got him. Wow, 2 away. Great defense there. And again, concentration on being able to get that after the first baseman, and it went right past him and missed. And again, good teamwork there by Cincinnati. That could have ended up being something a little bit bigger than expected. Next up is Teoscar Hernandez. Bottom of the third with a runner at second with 2 outs. First pitch in there for a strike looking. 93 miles an hour with the four-seam fastball by Zach Littell. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch. And a slow dribbler. Should be a routine out here at first. Ellie De La Cruz, throw to first, and got him. And that is out number 3. But not after the Dodgers strike. And now we have ourselves a very fun back-and-forth game. End of the third inning, 2-1 Reds. See who's up next here for the Reds in the top of the fourth inning. Next up for the Reds, 0 for 1 with a run, right fielder Austin Hayes. Batting second, the hero so far, the rookie, 1 for 1 with 2 ribbies with his single that scores 2 early, Sal Stewart. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a K, shortstop Ellie De La Cruz. Got to step up, Ellie. If the Reds have any chance, they need you to be a factor. And on the mound will be Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And so far, Yamamoto, 3 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned runs, no walks, 4 Ks, 53 pitches, 34 strikes, ERA is 0. And then let's take a look at Zach Littell. 3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 1 K, 36 pitches, 30 strikes, 3.00 ERA. Let me refresh everything and see if there's anything else that's been updated there. Looks like that is it. End of the third inning, 2-1 Cincinnati. So the Noble Tiger would be what the Yankees did yesterday when they had bases loaded with no outs and weren't able to score a run. Is that what you're getting at? That would be that term. Gotcha. It's always nice to be able to learn something new. I mean, I might have heard that term at some point, but I can't really recall. It's not something that has stuck. But also, how often do we see bases loaded with no outs and in the 9th inning and you don't get anything? That's kind of rare. I believe the Yankees are the first team that has actually happened to, based on something that I was reading. So at least in that wild card round, I think that's the first time that's ever happened. So maybe that's why I haven't heard of it, because it's never really happened. I mean, it's maybe it's happened in the regular season, but not necessarily in the playoffs like that. And that is 1 away. Down goes Austin Hayes. Next up is Sal Stewart. First pitch in there, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch from Yamamoto, and line drive, little dribbler, throw to first, and very quick, 2 away. Down goes Hayes, down goes Stewart, very quickly. Next up is Ellie De La Cruz. See if we can get Ellie to do something. Single, double, triple, home run, ground rule double, find a way to get to first and steal second, steal third. I mean, the guy can do it all. He's got the speed. There has been a time early in the season where his defense at short was a little suspect, had a few errors, especially when they played the Mariners and obviously a few other teams in that early part stretch. But it seems like he might have put that behind him, at least at this point in the season. 0-1 pitch. Outside of the zone, normally called strike, but this time called ball. 1 ball and 1 strike to Ellie De La Cruz. Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound. And Ellie De La Cruz in the box. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle with the curveball. Off speed, 77 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ellie De La Cruz. De La Cruz pops up in play and flies out to center, and that is out number 3. Let's see who's up next here for the Dodgers in the bottom of the 4th inning. Next up for the Dodgers, 0-for-1, third baseman Mad Max Muncy. Batting second in the 6th hole, center fielder Andy Pages. And batting third, 0-for-1 in the 7th hole, playing left field today, Kike Hernandez. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on the dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. Let's see if we've gained any subs since the beginning of the broadcast. We have 56 subs to go to be able to get to 22,400. We've gained 700 plus subs in the last 3.5 weeks. So we're definitely, going in the right direction. And then I'll have to kind of decide what we're going to be able to do tomorrow. If we do Rams and the Niners, that's kind of what I'm leaning on, it's just as far as the time, because it'll be the latest, event on out of all the games. Obviously, the one that I'm the most excited to watch is Guardians Tigers, because that's who the Mariners play. It's just unfortunate it's on at 10 a.m. So, but I'll try to figure it out. But we're going to keep it moving. And then on Friday, I don't think there's going to be anything really going on Friday besides maybe a college football matchup. So we'll probably take Friday off and I'll just spend time with my pup and prep. And then obviously on Saturday, we'll be doing the Mariners. Ducks have the, bye week and they play Indiana next week. So we'll do Mariners on Saturday, whether it be on in the, noon 1 range or later, depending on if Boston or New York wins. And then on Sunday, more than likely, we'll do Seahawks Bucks. And then after that, we'll dive right into game number 2 in the ALDS with the Mariners versus whoever, Guardians or Tigers. So it'll be a long day on Sunday, but it'll be a lot of fun. First pitch to Muncy, outside, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, and it gets past him. Wow. And Hayes retrieves it there. What a big base hit. Matt McClain, you got to get that. And McClain dives and it goes off his mitt. And a nice job there by Muncy running to first. And again, you can't make any mental errors like that. Next up is center fielder Andy Pages. First pitch in there, inside with the sinker, 1-0 count. Zach Littell on the mound, Andy Pages in the box. Big swing and a miss on the 1-0 pitch. Sinker inside. 1 ball and 1 strike to Andy Pages. 1-1 pitch from Littell. Low and away with that sinker. 2 balls and 1 strike from Littell to Pages. Bottom of the 4th inning, 2-1 Cincinnati lead. Much better than the Dodgers being up 8-0, and then obviously having the Reds have a big comeback with a Dodger pen meltdown. And we've got a 10-5 final, but we obviously were waiting for the Reds to kind of show up, but it was just too much Dodgers too early, especially with Shohei Ohtani with 2 home runs, Teoscar with 2 home runs, and Tommy Edman with a home run. Hard to come back from that, so. Pages calls time on a 3-1 count. Three-one pitch, and that one is fouled back behind the plate. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Andy Pages. Patel on the mound. Pages in the box. Runner at first with 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. 2-1 Cincinnati lead. Do or die game for Cincinnati. They win. They force game 3. They lose. Their season is over. Big swing and a miss. And a nice punch out there by Zach Littell, bringing a little electricity there for the Reds fan base. And that is 2 away. Next up, left fielder Kike Hernandez. First pitch fouled off. 0-1 count. Largest OPS increase. Look at Beltran, 0.184. Kike, 0.173. George Brett, 0.167. I mean, you can be going from like a 180 to 200 hitter to being like a 300, 335 hitter, and Kike, is that type of guy. Pitch is low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Kike Hernandez. But obviously having your name there with Beltran and George Brett, that's some pretty good company. He's not on the level of those 2 players, but he definitely plays like it in the postseason. And that one goes into the crowd and bounces all the way to the second row, front row there. But it was crazy when I ended up getting my first MLB foul ball, in 2019, in one of the first, games that I was able to go to in this newer generation Mariner squad. It was like in slow motion when it was coming to me in the first inning. And Kike drills it into right field, in the gap. Go, go, go. Muncie's coming home. And they're waving him, throw home. And he stands up and goes across home plate, and he is in. We have a 2-2 tie, baby. And again, Kike, one of those guys that you never, ever can doubt. And again, it was crazy. The ushers walked past, our row and said, hey, this is a foul ball area. Make sure you got your head on a swivel. And then about 10 seconds later, I ended up getting the Kike ball. So it was a pretty amazing experience, even though my knees got pretty bloody from getting body checked from behind after the guy dropped it twice, but it'll be a memory I will never forget. Nice base knock by Kike Hernandez. And just like that, 2-2, we got a tie. Nice job by Kike. Next up is Miguel Rojas. First pitch in there for a strike, 0-1 count. Bottom of the 4th, 2-2 tie with a runner at second with 1 out. Postseason career batting .283 with 15 homers and 36 ribbies when he normally is like a 180 to 200 hitter. And not very many home runs during the regular season, usually like 5 to 10. So, he'll hit as many home runs, in the postseason than sometimes he will have in a good chunk of the regular. It's pretty wild. Pitches inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. to Miguel Rojas. 1-1 pitch. Crushes that one into right field, foul with that slider by Littell. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at second. 2-2 tie in the bottom of the 4th with 1 out. One-two pitch and connects. Rojas, it is fair, and the runner is coming home. Kike, throw home, and not in time. 3-2 Dodgers, and it shows you how good the Dodgers are. Even when they're down 2-0, it only takes a matter of a couple innings, and they're right back in it. Wow. 2-0 lead evaporated pretty quick, but at least Sal kept him in the game and had that early lead. But big hits here by Miguel Rojas and Kike Hernandez. Now he got Ben Rortvedt up, and we have a pitching change. Looks like they're going to bring Lodolo in. All right, Zach Littell's day is done. Next up is Nick Lodolo. They're going to be going with the lefty, and we'll see how good he will do against this Dodger squad. Commercial break, obviously, as they get him warmed up. And next up will be Ben Rortvedt. Oh, this is 100% true. I mean, it's the only sport that you really have a chance of actually getting something to take home. I mean, unless you're in the front row of an NFL game and you're rich and a kid, and back when like Cam Newton was playing, that maybe you would get a ball. But again, if you're talking about someone that's a little bit, not rich, like middle class, lower class, that's sitting in other areas of the game, you have a chance to maybe get a puck if you go to an NHL game, if you're extremely lucky, but that's very, very hard. And you have a better chance of, getting a home run ball, a foul ball, or a ball thrown into the crowd. Nice bunt attempt by Rortvedt, and it's dropped. Wow. Great bunt attempt by Rortvedt. And again, that's why you bunt. Mariners, take notes, because you never know if the individual that tries to grab it fumbles it. And there wasn't even an attempt to first because he couldn't get a handle on it. Amazing bunt by Rortvedt right there. Beautiful. And again, the second baseman, McLean, with 2 errors. He had one go off his mitt and another one go off his mitt. Maybe you need to let the first baseman do his job and have the second baseman get the hell out of the way. Because right now, Matt McLean is the liability for that defense. Next up is Shohei Ohtani. First pitch by Ohtani. Crushes it, but it's going to stay in play. And that is 2 away. Crowd was thinking, oh God, that's going to be a 3-run blast. Shohei pops out, 2 away. Next up is Mookie Betts with runners at first and third with 2 outs. Bottom of the 4th, the Dodger offense is starting to heat up. First pitch is outside. High and away, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike, looking high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Lodolo to Betts. And obviously going from a righty to a lefty, this will be a little bit of an adjustment period, you would assume, but the Dodgers are so good, it doesn't really matter. 1-1 pitch from Nick Lodolo, low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Mookie Betts. Two-one pitch from Lodolo, and Mookie pops up, and that should be out number 3. They leave 2 stranded, but not after the Dodgers take the lead, and just like that, Cincinnati's Reds 2-0 lead evaporates pretty quick. Sal Stewart gave them that early lead, but the Dodgers fire back with big plays from Kike Hernandez and Miguel Rojas. So let's do a quick recap in the game if you're just tuning in. In the top of the first inning, Sal Stewart, the rookie, single to right. Gavin Lux and Austin Hayes both scored off that 2-run RBI single by Sal Stewart, making it 2-0 in the first. And then Mookie Betts, single to center. Roart Betts scores, and that ends up making it 2-1 in the bottom of the third. And then just now, in the bottom of the fourth, Kike Hernandez double to center. Kike Hernandez scored and double to center, and Max Muncy ended up scoring, making it 2-2. And then one batter later after Kike went Miguel Rojas. He singles to right, and then Kike ends up coming home, and that's how we have a 3-2 lead. End of the fourth inning, 3-2 Los Angeles. Let's see who's up next here for the Reds in the top of the fifth. Next up for the Reds in the top of the fifth, 0 for 1 with a K, catcher Tyler Stevenson. Batting second, 0 for 1, third baseman Ke'Bryan Hayes. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a K, and multiple bugaboos. And, he may not be credited with the 2 errors, but he should, based on his play. He's fumbled the bag twice for them, Matt McLean. And he'll definitely have to step up big to make up for that. Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound. Tyler Stevenson in the box. First pitch. Takes a strike, looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. .231 batting average, 13 homers for Tyler Stevenson during the regular season. Game 1, he went 1 for 4. 0-1 pitch. Takes a strike, looking low and away. Four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour by Yoshinobu Yamamoto. .02 pitch, fouled off into right field. No balls and 2 strikes to Tyler Stevenson. Top of the fifth, 3-2 Dodger lead. I'm excited for Saturday as well. Big swing and a miss. 5th strikeout for Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I see you. Bringing that electricity and that fire and passion for Los Angeles. And that is 1 away. Next up is Ke'Bryan Hayes, the former Pittsburgh Pirate. I'm actually looking forward to the Seahawk Buck game as well on Sunday. even if we don't have Mike Evans and Bucky Irving, more than likely, we know Mike is out for sure. And again, I would assume Bucky will be out, and just sucks when you end up having some of your stars not available. And, hopefully we'll bring everything that we got, and we'll see what happens after that matchup. Both teams are 3-1. Both teams have a chance to win the division. Both teams more than likely are going to make the playoffs. So it'll definitely be a nice test, I think, for Seattle and Tampa to see how they match up against each other. I would say, I went 3-0, and I had to play the Eagles, who are considered the best team in football besides the Bills. So, that one was tough. A lot of teams would lose to the Philadelphia Eagles, but it definitely, kind of let me know where we stand. If we had Mike Evans, do we have a better chance of winning that game? Maybe. Drills to center field, all the way back to the warning track, and caught. Brian Hayes flied out to center, and that is 2 away. Next up is Matt McClain. Mariners had one of their 2 scrimmages today. They'll have another one tomorrow, and they even had Ichiro play right field, which is pretty cool. And obviously tickets were pretty cheap just to kind of keep them sharp. And you don't usually see that out of teams that, end up having a week off. But I'm happy that the Mariners are taking it serious. 0-1 pitch. That one's fouled off. The catcher's mask there. I hope he's okay. No balls and 2 strikes to Matt McClain. And they'll be doing another little scrimmage game tomorrow, but Cal homered and Ichiro was helping out playing right field, and hopefully they'll be very, very sharp as we go into Saturday. And I'm very confident, regardless who we play, that we'll be able to bring it, especially with that Seattle crowd. It's going to be rocking. 0-2 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Matt McClain. One-two pitch, big swing and a miss. And that's the 6K there for Yamamoto. Way to bring that energy for the Dodgers. 6 Ks there for Yamamoto, looking very good. Huge pickup for them. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Let's get an update to see where we're at on the likes. We got 78 in the room. Let's see if we can get to 100. We're still looking for our first dono on our dono train. And we're looking to gain 5 to 15 subs. Let's go to the bottom of the 5th inning, 3-2 Los Angeles. Let's see who's next up for the Dodgers. Next up for the Dodgers, 0 for 2 with a K, first baseman Freddie Freeman. Batting second, 0 for 2 right fielder Teoscar Hernandez. And batting third, 1 for 2 with a run, third baseman Max Muncy. All right, we're at 43, 7 more to 50. Let's go, baby. And again, for the people that are in the room that are regulars, we have to work as a team to maximize all the numbers. The likes, the views, the subs, the donos, the shares. So if you're just sitting there, chilling, hanging out, make sure you're active in the chat so that way we can get some of the people that are enjoying the broadcast to at least hit that like button so that way we can hit that algorithm. And again, people that are looking for Reds, Dodgers, MLB, they will be able to find us, at the top rather than maybe someone else. Yeah, and obviously the Mariners will have the day off on that particular day, so we will be doing Chiefs-Jags, and the Jags will actually have a chance to win that. Obviously if it was in years past, it would be Chiefs all day and all night, but the Jags are actually kind of one of the surprise teams this year. Defense has been pretty good. Offense has been flowing better with Travis Hunter, the rookie from Colorado. So again, the Chiefs are still a team that, is going to threaten. other teams in the AFC. They may not be as good as the Bills, but obviously we've seen the Ravens go in the wrong direction, and the Colts and the Jags and the Steelers are taking full advantage of other teams, kind of shitting the bed early or having injuries. And then obviously we know that the Chiefs and the Chargers look like they might have the best shot with the Broncos in the AFC West. And Buffalo is still, the best team, it feels like, in the AFC for now. But nice to be able to see some new teams emerge in the AFC. Unless you're a Raven fan, then you're probably pretty depressed, seeing how that ship is sailing. And line drive, and nice catch there by McLean, and that is one away. Down goes Freddie Freeman. Next up is Teoscar Hernandez. Nick Lodolo on the mound, the lefty. Teoscar in the box, 0 for 2 here tonight. He went 3 for 5 with 2 homers and 4 ribbies yesterday. First pitch, big swing and a miss, 0-1 count. One pitch, and slow dribbler to third, should be a routine play. Throw to first, got him, 2 away. Down goes Teoscar. Next up is Max Muncy. Lodolo on the mound, Muncy in the box. And first pitch to Muncy, and he gets hit in the back. Muncy takes his base. Next up is center fielder Andy Pages. First pitch from Lodolo to Pages, and he fouls it off towards that third baseline with that sinker, 94 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Bottom of the fifth, in a very fun back-and-forth game since Cincinnati was able to score 2 runs early to put the pressure on the Dodgers. But the Dodgers have fired back very quickly and now have the 3-2 lead. One pitch, and slow dribbler towards third, force out at second, and that is out number 3. Hayes to McLean with the good glove work there. End of the 5th inning. Let's go to the top of the 6th and see who's up next here for the Reds. Next up, Reds 0 for 2 center fielder T.J. Friedel. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a K, left fielder Spencer Steer. And batting third, the former Dodger, DHing in the 3-hole, Gavin Lux. Gained a sub, 55 subs to go to 22,400. Shout out to all the new subs on the channel here today. One more like to 50. Let's get there. See if we can get as close to 75 likes before the stream ends. And then if we get an uptick in viewership and we're over 100 people in a room later in the matchup, if that happens, then obviously we can shoot for 100 at that point. You're on it, TJ. Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, obviously the Reds had that early lead, but then obviously Betts singled, Rortvedt scored, making it 2-1 in the third. Kike doubled the center, Muncy scored in the fourth, 2-2, and then Rojas singled the right. Kike scored, making it 3-2. So again, it's not necessarily going to be, Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez every night. Now, on some nights, it will be, like yesterday, just killing the baseball out there, but on other games, it will be the role players. And that's what makes the Dodgers so good, just like the Phillies and the Mariners and a few other teams. It's like, it's not just the guys at the top of the order or even the guys in the middle of the order. Sometimes it's the guys at the bottom of the order in the 7, 8, 9 that end up being kind of the unsung heroes from time to time. And again, I like our roster just as good as anybody's. And, hopefully when it's all said and done, we'll be in the World Series representing the American League, regardless if that's against the Dodgers, the Phillies, or somebody else. Pitch is outside. 2 balls and 1 strike to TJ Friedl. Big swing and a miss, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Yamamoto to Friedl. Plus, it would be amazing if we can, go on this big, deep run. It would really help us out here numbers-wise on the channel. And again, I don't think this is going to be the only year where we're going to be contenders. I think every year moving forward, this is kind of like the, first kind of big push of the next 10 to 15, 20 years of some really solid baseball for the Mariners. 2-2 pitch, line drive, and a nice single there into right field, into Teoscar Hernandez's hands. And a nice hit there by TJ Friedl into right field. Nice single there. Next up is Spencer Steer. Let's see if Steer can end up getting a big single, double, or RBI here. I mean, like I said, we only had a couple good years, prior to obviously 2022, where we had a 20-year drought. But again, like I've said many, many times, from 2022 to 2042, in a 20-year span, we should be able to make the playoffs, you would think, like 13 out of 20 years, which would be unprecedented because we, have gone only a few times, 95, 97, 2000, 2001, and then a big 20-year gap, 2022 with Cal with the walk-off against the Athletics. No one gave us a chance of even winning a series. We beat the Blue Jays. And again, anything can happen, but this is the best team that the Mariners have ever constructed. And again, if we end up letting Garver, Castillo, and Gino walk, we have other guys that we can get from the farm or on the bench to fill in. And then also in free agency and at the deadline, we can add to the team like we have the last 2 years. And I really like the direction of where the Mariners are going. And maybe the Mariners are going to be the new powerhouse in the American League. I mean, I don't know if any of us would, obviously be upset with that. We've already seen, the Yankees and the Astros dominate the American League. Why not us? And a nice base hit right up the middle there. And Cincinnati is cooking here in the 6th inning. Nice job by Friedl. Nice job by Spencer Steer. And now a guy that going against his former team has a chance to do something big, tie the game up or take the lead. Left fielder Gavin Lux, who was a Dodger. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. We were still waiting for our first individual to support the channel, and I appreciate it very much. University, $25 dono. Thank you so much for your generosity, which will help take care of my pup. Stacks, racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. Appreciate you very, very much. $25 on the dono train, 75 to go to hit the goal. Thank you so much. You just want to make sure that you feel appreciated for the hard work. And obviously another base knock there by Lux. Everyone is safe now with bases loaded and no outs. Reds are threatening. And again, you understand as a streamer, every day is different. You never know, where you're going to be at. It's not like a standard 8 to 5, 9 to 5 job where you have a salary or an hourly rate. Some days, it might be amazing. Other days, maybe a little disappointing. But again, tomorrow is a new day to make up for the previous day. And again, we have some amazing people in the room that have really been holding it down. And I really do appreciate that very, very much. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that too. And again, Josh Naylor is proving that, hey, you can hit in Seattle. I mean, you might not be able to do it depending on what free agent we're talking about, but Naylor figured out the recipe. And, for a guy that can hit 300 to 350, since we've acquired him, especially at home, T-Mobile is the hardest ballpark to hit at. But yeah, I think it is definitely opening up some eyes, and again, realizing that Castillo, Garb, Gino probably won't be on the team next year or in the following year. So it'll give opportunities for individuals, that maybe we're thinking, oh, maybe I could go to Seattle or another destination. But, maybe now it's like it could actually become a reality for some of these bigger players. And obviously, the deeper we go, obviously, the more popular that we're going to get. So. Bases loaded, first pitch, low and at the knees, 1-0 count. No, I get it, man. Anytime you end up having an issue, like if your, car gets stolen, you lose your wallet, you lose your phone, or it gets stolen, obviously your mood isn't going to be, as, normal in your routine when something like that happens. So, but thank you for your generosity, even with the, some of the adversity that you've had to face and whatnot, but hopefully the vehicle will be okay. Obviously, it's never a good day when something like that happens. You feel like your trust is being violated, with your objects and your possessions, especially something like a car. 2-0 pitch, and that's a line drive. Throw home, and gets the tag at home, and that is 1 away. 3-2 Dodgers with bases loaded and no outs, and now there's 1 out. Yeah, Ryan Sloan, Durangelo, Cade Anderson. I mean, it's a good problem to have, Brian. I agree. When you have so many players and so much talent, Cole Emerson, Lazona Montez, with Cole Young and Harry Ford and Ben Williamson, it's like at some point, it's like we are really making a big youth movement, but we have to make sure that we still have some OGs and some vets to make sure we're mentoring the young guys, because you can't just be all young and expect that you're going to be great. You're still going to need some leadership out there. And if we can find the right combination of young and old guys that are still playing on a high level, then obviously we're going to be cooking for, who knows, the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And I'm definitely looking forward to that. Next up, the hero at the beginning of the game, rookie Sal Stewart, who had a 2-run RBI single to give the Reds a 2-0 lead. And let's see if he can do it again here with bases loaded and 1 out. But a much more entertaining game here in game 2 than it was in game 1, when they were down 8-0 and ended up coming back and scoring 5 late with a meltdown by the Dodger pen. Final score ended up being 10-5, but 2 homers by Ohtani, 2 by Teoscar, 1 by Tommy Edman, who's not in the lineup today. And the Reds are, playing with their backs against the wall. You lose, your season's over. They're playing like it. And we definitely have an entertaining matchup here. And every team that won yesterday lost today. So obviously, if you watched early on, right, the Guardians got payback on the Tigers today, right? The Padres got payback on the Cubs, and the Yankees got payback on the Red Sox. So we're going to have 3 game 3s. Will we have a 4th game 3? We'll find out. 1-1 pitch to Sal Stewart. Yeah, I mean, we've had one of the best farms in the last 2, 3, 4 years, and it continues to get better and better. Big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Sal Stewart. And on top of that, if you're a pitcher, the best place to go to get developed is Seattle. So again, for Cade Anderson, a beautiful thing. And we have the Angels to thank for passing on him and taking another pitcher. I can't wait for Cade to be able to get nice revenge, against all the people that passed, even though it was only 2 teams. So. But, he could have been the first pick in the draft, no doubt about that. And many still think that he's the best player in the draft. So we definitely got a steal. Big swing and a miss. Yamamoto. That is 2 away. Wow. Bases loaded with no outs. And the Reds, if they can't get anything here, they're going to be like the Yankees in game 1. Except that was bases loaded with no outs in the 9th. Next up is Ellie De La Cruz. And you got to step up. There's certain guys that step up, in the regular season, and then sometimes not as much in the postseason. We want Ellie not to be necessarily like Judge, where you're not getting as much production in the postseason compared to guys like maybe Ohtani and Schwarber, and I'm thinking Cal Raleigh. I think these guys are really going to pour it on. And, again, it's great to be amazing in the regular season, but you're also going to be judged on how well you do in the postseason. 0-1 pitch. Inside, right on the line. Could have been either way. 1 ball and 1 strike to Ellie De La Cruz. Top of the 6th, bases loaded with 2 outs. 1-1 pitch, and then fouls that one off. A little foul tip. Crowd goes crazy. And now he's just 1 strike away from getting out of this jam. And again, anytime you can get out of a jam with bases loaded and no outs or even 1 out, it definitely can spark some more momentum as the fans in Los Angeles are all standing, waving their Dodger towels in unison. Top of the 6th, bases loaded, 2 outs, 3-2 Dodger lead. Ellie De La Cruz in the box. Yamamoto mound. 1-2 pitch, that's fouled off again. Just a barely foul tip there. Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound. Ellie De La Cruz in the box. One-two pitch. And a little foul tip there as well. One-two pitch. Got him! Wow. Bases loaded. And the Dodgers had no outs, and they got a nasty check swing by Ellie. You got to go all the way. And what a performance by Yoshinobu Yamamoto when the game is on the line, and the Reds easily could have taken the lead there. And again, when you get bases loaded with no outs and you can get 3 and you don't bring one guy home, great job by that defense. Great job by Yamamoto. Way to bring that electricity for the Dodgers there. And that might have been, I won't say that won't be the reason why they lose. I mean, there'll be other opportunities. They still got a few more innings, but that could have been the turning point in the game for the Reds, if their season ends, here tonight in a couple more innings. Let's see who's up next year in the bottom of the 6th for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Next up for the Dodgers, 1 for 2 with a run and an RBI, Kike Hernandez. Batting second baseman in the 8-hole, Miguel Rojas. And batting third, catcher in the 9-hole, Ben Rortvedt. First pitch, high and away to Kike Hernandez. As a pitching change comes in for the Reds, Nick Martinez, I believe. Yeah, Nick Martinez in the matchup. Pitch is high and over the catcher's head there. 2 balls and 1 strike to Kike Hernandez. So Lodolo's day is done, and now Nick Martinez is in. 2-1 pitch, and fair. Wow. And Kike getting a lucky bounce there. And they'll take that. Nice hit there by Kike. Next up is Miguel Rojas. Bottom of the 6th, 3-2 Dodgers lead. Nick Martinez on the mound. And Miguel Rojas in the box. And Rojas with a chopper. And Stewart gets up and toe taps the bag. And that is 1 away. Rojas grounds out to first, Kike to second. Next up, catcher filling in for Will Smith after his injury, Ben Rortvedt. Wow. Tyler Stevenson, what happened there? And you threw it past Martinez, and the Reds are having some mental errors here late, and you can't have that. Big error there by Stewart. And Kike safe at third. And again, you got to be able to make routine plays, and what a wild throw to first base. And again, Rortvedt should have been easily out there. And just like that now, you got runners at first and third for one of the most dangerous hitters in the regular season and the postseason. It's showtime, Shohei Ohtani. Appreciate that, TJ. Shout out to University for getting us on the board. And it just feels good, when you work hard. And again, it's not like I'm just going to take 5 days off. I got to keep, paying bills. And I like to be able to, have 3 hours of my day to be able to spend with y'all. And, enjoy whatever main event that is going on. And, when you have dreams and goals and you're building a legacy, you can't be lazy. You got to work hard. And, it's not ideal for the Mariners to have 5 days off since we were doing games pretty much every day throughout the whole season. But, we still have other things that are interesting that we can do. And we'll figure out what we end up doing tomorrow based off the 3 matchups that we have access to tomorrow. And we also have Thursday night football as an option with the Rams and Niners. Pitch is fouled off on back-to-back pitches. That one is high and inside from Nick Martinez. No balls and 2 strikes to Shohei Ohtani. Martinez on the mound. Ohtani in the box with runners at first and third and 1 out. And again, if you're the Reds, you cannot afford any mistakes against the Dodgers. Again, at this point, when you're down by a run, when you were up 2-0, but Cincinnati might have to score 5 to win this game. And I don't know if they can get there. That one is fouled off the 0-2 pitch towards first base, foul. I mean, obviously, if someone like Ellie De La Cruz gets a big 2-run bomb or a 3-run jack, that could be the difference. But will we get that? Tough to say. I mean, it depends on who comes in for the Dodgers, right? In their pen, if they have a meltdown like they did yesterday, yeah, it's possible. But if the bullpen is good, then But again, that has been one of the weaknesses of the Dodgers. Is their bullpen this year. There's quite a few teams, bullpens that have been a little bit stronger, at least as of late. Padres, pretty strong. Cubs is strong most of the time. Phillies. So a lot of their competition is a little bit better in that category, but pitch is high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Shohei Ohtani. Captain in the building, what's good? 1-2 pitch. Low and at the knees with the cutter. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Nick Martinez to Shohei Ohtani. Bottom of the 6th, runners at first and third with 1 out, 3-2 Dodger lead after having a 2-0 lead early was Sal Stewart with a 2-run RBI single to get them on the board first, but it's been all Dodgers since. 2-2 pitch, Ohtani, and that's a big base hit into right field. That's going to score at least 1. And Kike comes home, and just like that, 4-2 Los Angeles. And again, that's the difference between Judge and Ohtani. Ohtani comes up big in the postseason. Judge, not really. Again, will there be games that Judge gets singles, RBIs, home runs? Yes, but he's just not as consistent in the postseason as Shohei Ohtani. And again, Shohei also pitches on top of that. So again, as great as Aaron Judge is, we will see who plays better, in the postseason. And I have a feeling that Schwarber and Cal will be like Shohei, and they will show up. And I don't think that Schwarber or Cal will play like Judge, where you're hoping he does something, but in some cases he doesn't. It's like you want to make sure you're having your, best player come up best, in late moments where it matters the most, the postseason. But, lately we haven't got to see the best version of Judge as of late. And Mookie with a big base hit down that left field line, bouncing off the wall. And Rortvet's going to score 5-2 Dodgers. That might be it for the Reds. Unless you end up getting a meltdown like the Dodgers pen had yesterday, that might be all she wrote right there. Judah in the building. What's good? Yeah, you had a meltdown in the pen. It happens, but you have as good of a chance as anybody tomorrow. All the teams that lost yesterday won today. So it's not just like, the Red Sox were the only team that couldn't get it done. Everyone lost and with their backs against their wall, and you're on the road. You're not at home. So again, realize that it's hard to win, in that situation. So, and again, I think that they're going to have a good chance to win tomorrow. We'll see where it goes. But Reds have 0% chance of advancing. Even if somehow, some way they were able to come back today, they wouldn't win tomorrow. There's 0% chance of that happening. LA is too good, top to bottom. Obviously the weakness is the bullpen, but other than that, they are just top tier. And it wouldn't really shock me if they end up representing the National League. Yes, the Brewers and Cubs have been great. Obviously the Padres are trying to be able to hang around. And obviously we know the Phillies are the biggest threat to the Dodgers. And again, if the Dodgers end up winning, they would have to go against Philadelphia. And again, that's going to be must-see TV for the National League. Now we got bases loaded in the bottom of the sixth. Too bad it's not like Phillies and the Dodgers in the NLCS. We have to get it one round early, but, it is what it is. But potentially we could get Brewers, Cubs, and another base hit right up the middle, and that's going to bring home another. Wow. Hit after hit after hit. The Dodgers are on fire. 7-2 Dodgers. Magic Johnson's loving it in the front row. Unbelievable. And again, when you get to this part of the order, first ballot Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer. And yeah, you might not be a Hall of Famer, but you're damn good. I mean, again, there's not very many players that are better than Teoscar Hernandez the last few years, being on the Blue Jays, the Mariners, winning the Home Run Derby last year, and helping them win the World Series. And again, if it wasn't for Teoscar Hernandez, they may have not got to that point. Obviously everyone wants to talk Ohtani, and obviously Shohei is amazing, right? But Teoscar was just as important as Shohei last year on getting them to the position where they were to win it all. Wow. Now it's 7-2 with runners at second and third with one out, and you got Max Muncy up. And again, it shows you how quickly the Dodgers can strike. And again, the Phillies are an amazing team. It wouldn't shock me if they represent the National League, but again, the Brewers, the Cubs, the Padres, those are good teams, but the Dodgers and the Phillies are like elite. And I get it. The Brewers are elite based off their record. Yeah, they had the best road record as well. But the only question mark I think that we have for the Brewers for being one of the best teams all year is kind of like maybe the Blue Jays as well. What about your experience in the postseason? Can you go deep, based off lack of experience? And obviously Brewers even have, less than Toronto. Toronto made the playoffs with us in 2022. So again, Milwaukee had a great regular season, but can that carry over to the postseason? We don't know yet. And we'll definitely find out. But we know that they, can win on the road better than anybody else, at least in 2025. But also, the playoffs are a different animal than the regular season. And we'll see what happens. It'll be very exciting as we transition, to see who represents in the American League, who ends up playing against the Mariners and the Blue Jays, and who ends up playing against the Brewers and the Phillies. Yeah, all the games are in Seattle, Cody. Yeah, and it's whoever wins, 3 games out of 5, right? So. And it sounds like with Wu, what I was hearing is they may end up, saving Wu for the road because he's a better road pitcher than some of the others. So it is possible that we start off, with possibly Gilbert or Kirby, to start off, and then maybe Castillo, because he's better at home than he is on the road. We know how bad Castillo and Miller are on the road, so it would kind of make sense, to have Castillo at home, but can we trust him, in this crucial moment where we need to win these games, and we can't have a meltdown by Castillo if he pitches in game 2. So, but it sounds like they're going to save, some of the guys, for maybe, later on the road if possible, like Wu, especially with the pec. But it sounds like they may go Kirby 1, Castillo 2, or Gilbert 1, Castillo 2, and then, deciding where they go from there, and, maybe have Kirby and, maybe Miller or Kirby and Wu go on the road, and then we end up having Gilbert and Castillo to start off. But I don't know if I would agree with that. But again, you definitely want to think of all the strategies that are involved. But we definitely want to win those first 2 games at home. There's no doubt about that. Next up is Andy Pages after another pitching change here. Bases loaded in the bottom of the 6th, 7-2 Los Angeles. But I think Wu on the road makes sense because of the pec. You don't want him to play in game 1 or game 2. He's good at home, but he's really good on the road, and giving him a couple extra days of rest would be good for him. It just, who do we trust more, Kirby or Gilbert? And again, I think I would rather go Kirby and then Castillo and then Gilbert later. But if they go Gilbert and Castillo, I sure as hell hope they do it, like they play well. Because imagine if we go Gilbert and Castillo and we drop the first 2 games, or if we only win 1, we don't want to be in a position to lose early. So we've got to make sure that the offense comes up, and, we're going to have to score 5 to 10 runs. And hopefully we do. 0-1 pitch. Right down the middle, the Pajes takes a strike looking. No balls and 2 strikes to Andy Pajes. Yeah, but again, if Miller is going to be in the pen and Castillo is going to pitch in the series, what would we want? Him at home or on the road? So it would make sense for him to pitch game 2. Even though I don't really fully trust him, I trust him more than Miller, not as much. And I don't know if I trust him more than Gilbert. Gilbert's been kind of shaky too. I don't really trust him either. It's like I trust Kirby and I trust Wu when he's healthy. And then Gilbert and Castillo is like, on a trust level, maybe 60%. And then with Wu and Gilbert, or Wu and Kirby, it's probably like 85 to 90, as far as trust. But, you have to look at the road matchups too. So bottom of the 6th. 7-2 Dodgers, bases loaded with 2 outs. Next up is Kike Hernandez. 2 for 3 with a single, double, RBI, and 2 runs, and always tears it up in the postseason. First pitch to Kike, in there for a strike looking, 0-1 count. I mean, imagine having like, Castillo on the road. I don't think we would want that. But I think with like Kirby and Wu, we feel confident that they can win at home or on the road. But with Gilbert and Castillo, they might be better at home. And if they're on the road, they might fuck up. So maybe Gilbert, Castillo will be the first 2. And then we'll have Kirby and Wu after that. That might be, the best chance for us. But then we just have to hope that they don't fuck up, and then we, bring the bats, because, the last thing that we want is to be thinking about, oh, these guys are better on the road, and then we're down 0-2, and we drop the first 2 games, because Gilbert and Castillo are bootios, and that would be terrible. That would definitely backfire on that strategy. 1-2 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Kike Hernandez. Yeah, Castillo in game 2 makes the most sense. And then you got to go with Gilbert or Kirby in game 1. Probably Gilbert, I would assume. And popped up, and Ellie De La Cruz is there. And that is out number 3, but not after an explosion of runs there in the 6th. And that's 4 big runs by the Dodgers, and they have opened this game up where it was 3-2 and kind of manageable, but not anymore. And now it's 4-2. Ohtani singled to right. Kike scored. Rortvedt to third, making it 4-2. And then Betts doubled to left. Rortvedt scored 5-2. And then Teoscar doubled to center. Ohtani and Betts scored 7-2. So it looks like every team is going to be playing tomorrow except for Cincinnati, unless we get a similar meltdown from the Dodgers pen as we saw yesterday. And again, they did give up 5 runs. Right, in the pen. So, but I don't know if that's going to happen 2 days in a row. All right, let's see who's up next here for the Reds, and let's see if they can make a little bit of a comeback. I mean, this is potentially the last, 3 innings of the year. So let's see if they can at least get to 5 to make it interesting, and hopefully they do. At least for pride's sake for them. But that's easier said than done, and also depends on a Dodger meltdown. Next up, 0 for 2 with 2 Ks, catcher Tyler Stevenson. Batting second, 0 for 2, third baseman Key Brian Hayes, the former Pirate. And batting third with a few errors that weren't called errors, but potentially plays that he could have made early. 0 for 2 with 2 Ks, Matt McClain. Defense is not his strong suit. Top of the 7th inning, incoming, 7-2 Dodgers. Yeah, if you actually look at the Mariners' record against elite pitchers, Skubal, Skeens, Crochet, Hunter Brown, we have an amazing record against the elite pitchers for whatever reason. Our problem is when we play someone that's got fucking, 1 win and 10 losses and an ERA of 10 and we lose. Or we end up playing against a rookie pitcher that's never pitched before when we lose, right? And that's happened quite often in 2025. Where we've lost to like rookie pitchers 3, 4, 5 times, and also shitty pitchers where we play down to the competition, whether it's at home or on the road. But when we play elite guys, for whatever reason, we play well. And I think, if you're looking at the lineups, I think the Tigers are more dangerous. So I think at this point, if we play the Guardians, that would probably be an easier path, even though they have Jose Ramirez and Steven Kwan. But if you're looking at their lineup, top to bottom, I think it might be a little bit easier. Now, they do have a few good, solid pitchers, that we would have to kind of worry about as well on the Guardian side. But again, I feel like if we were going to go against someone, that would be the easier path of the two. Tigers would have more of a threat to beat us than the Guardians, I think, and both play us and match up to us very well. Slow dribbler, throw to first, and that is one away. But I think even though the Tigers lost today, I think if they do win tomorrow, it's going to be tougher, but again, we knew it wasn't going to be easy no matter what happens. And then the same thing with the Yankees and Red Sox going against the Blue Jays. Blue Jays already know that they have a battle coming their way. All those teams being in the same division, they know each other inside and out. And I don't think, I think if you're the Blue Jays, you're probably rooting for the Yankees because they're easier to beat. And then the Red Sox would be a little bit tougher. So the Red Sox and Tigers look like the stronger teams, even though they lost today, and obviously the Yankees and the Guardians, they're good, but they have a few more weaknesses, I think, in their lineup where we could exploit. But again, you just never know who's going to show up in the playoffs. Top of the 7th, 7-2 Dodgers. Yamamoto on the mound, and Benson is coming in to pinch hit. First pitch, low and away to Will Benson, pinch hitting, 0-1 count. Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound. Will Benson in the box. 0-1 pitch, fouls it off towards first base with that curveball by Yamamoto. No balls and 2 strikes to Will Benson. And also, I think there's more pressure on Skubal when he goes against Seattle because he's from, he went to college at Seattle. So, again, I think there's a lot of pressure with the family and the friends, and maybe that's another reason why he kind of fucks up against us, because he played his college ball in the Pacific Northwest and, has ties up here, with family and friends, and a little extra pressure when he plays Seattle, and he's able to dominate, pretty much everyone, but for whatever reason, he has a little bit harder of a time against Seattle, which doesn't bother me one bit. 0-2 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Will Benson. Yeah, we definitely would want to see the Blue Jays. I agree with that as well. If we want the easiest path, it would be Guardians and Blue Jays, in my opinion, as well. Even though the Blue Jays ended up getting the bye, but again, I mean, if we had the easiest path, it would be probably Guardians and Yankees. If Yankees found a way to beat the Red Sox and they beat the Blue Jays, even though we've had a hard time, playing them, this would be the year that I think that we could get them, especially with their, kind of postseason up and down woes and whatnot. So, but we will see. And that's a walk for Will Benson. But again, you never know who could get hot at the right time. Guardians, Tigers, Blue Jays, Yankees, Red Sox. I mean, at some point, one of those teams could, overtake Seattle. And, obviously we have dreams of the ALDS, the ALCS, and the World Series. So whatever path that we have to go through, maybe playing the better teams will be better for us to get us battle tested. Maybe we need to play the Tigers and the Blue Jays to advance, to show that, hey, we're ready to represent the American League. And if we do go against the Tigers and Blue Jays and win, maybe that'll give us a little edge, going against, the Dodgers or Philadelphia. Even though those teams are very, very good, it could give us the confidence that we need, that we could beat Skubal and we can go against George Springer and Bo Bichette and Vlad Jr. and we can, beat an elite team more than one time. You want to make sure you're battle tested. So 0-1 pitch to Matt McLean. Check swing, and he goes around. No balls and 2 strikes from Yamamoto to McLean. I mean, no matter who we have to go against, I mean, they all match up to us pretty well. I think we still have the most talent out of any team in the American League, but, I'm not afraid. You want to be able to play the best, and beat the best to be the best. And strikeout number 9 there from Yamamoto. Nice job by Yoshinobu bringing that electricity. And obviously the Japanese pipeline runs through Los Angeles. And that is 2 away. Next up, back at the top of the order, TJ Friedl. I mean, if the Yankees beat the Red Sox and the Yankees beat the Blue Jays and we end up beating the Tigers or Guardians and we play them, obviously there'd be a lot of drama. And again, they've beaten us so many times over the years. It would be kind of nice to get payback on them. And I feel that, they're kind of, one of those teams that we don't really like. Obviously Astros and Rangers, Angels, Athletics are in our division. And, obviously I think we, have beef with 3 of the teams. We don't really have that much beef with the Athletics, but the Angels, Astros, and Rangers we do. But I think right after the Astros and the Rangers and the Angels, the Yankees are right there, as far as like rivalry, since they've had our number over the years. In 95, 2001, it would be pretty sweet to get payback on them, but they'll have to get past Boston first. And then if they do that, they'll have to get past the Blue Jays. And I don't know if they will, Blue Jays are much better than New York, top to bottom. But again, you never know who's going to play well and who's going to choke. 1 ball and 2 strikes to TJ Friedl. Top of the 7th with a runner at first and 2 outs, 7-2 Dodger lead. Game day in the building. What's good? Pitch foul back behind the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes to TJ Friedl. But no matter who we match up against, it's going to be exciting. And, as long as we just focus about ourselves, and hopefully not have any fucking meltdowns in the pen, we'll be just fine. And the crowd is just going to be a rockin', and that's one advantage that we have. We're going to have the best crowd in the American League, hands down. And then, the best crowd in the National League will be Philly, no doubt. So, again, if we end up getting a Phillies-Mariners World Series, don't be surprised, because they're going to have the 2 loudest crowds out of the American League and the National League. Those places are going to be rocking in Seattle and Philadelphia. 2-2 pitch. High and away. Doesn't get the call on the corner. Misses it by an inch, if that. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to TJ Friedl. Yeah, there's still time, as long as they don't have someone come in and pinch hit for him. 3-2 pitch. Inside, almost hits him, and that's a walk. And that might be it for Yamamoto. Yep. Yamamoto's day is done. And next up is Spencer Steer. With the right-hander from Japan, elite as ever. And his final line, 6.2 innings pitched, 4 hits, no earned runs, but 2 of them were just like right there with the walks. 4 hits, 2 walks, and this just happened. 9 Ks, 113 pitches. Wow. 77 strikes. Nice job by Yamamoto. And they're going to bring in Trinan. All right, Trinan is coming in, relieving Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And next up in the box after the commercial break will be Spencer Steer, who's 1 for 2 with a K. And you got runners at first and second with 2 outs with a 5-run lead. So, again, Dodgers did give up 5 runs yesterday when they were up 8-0, but they still ended up winning 10-5. And we'll see what we get here. I mean, Ellie is kind of like Judge, where you expect a lot in the postseason, and if they get there, obviously the Reds don't make it every year, but you just don't get really enough, out of them in the postseason. They can be great in the regular, but I expect a hell of a lot more if you're considered like a superstar, and a lot of people love Ellie, and he's amazing player in the regular season, but time's running out to make a big play, and we'll see if Aaron Judge can impose his will. Because if the Yankees are going to win tomorrow, they may need him to homer once or twice. And, it just seems like, Ohtani comes up big in the regular and the postseason more often than Judge does. And maybe a reason why the Yankees haven't won a World Series with Judge, because he hasn't been able to step it up. And again, it's like you had Giancarlo, you had Soto last year. But again, you were supposed to be better with pitching and defense, and Dodgers were better. And on top of that, they were better hitting as well. And, it's like you can get to the World Series, but can you win it? And obviously with Judge, we know he's one of the greatest of all time. But again, you also are going to be judged, on how you play in the postseason. And I think a lot of us expect a little bit more for a guy that is considered like the modern day, Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Joe DiMaggio, like one of the top guys like Ohtani. We need you to play in the postseason. And Spear, a little dribbler, and that is out number 3. Reds leave 2. And let's go to the bottom of the 7th inning and see if the Dodgers can add on a little bit more. But Freddie should have at least 1 or 2 more opportunities to hit, you would think. And I don't know about Ellie. We'll see. If you had to choose between Ellie and Freddie, Freddie is more of a consistent hitter. So next up for the Dodgers, 1 for 3 with an RBI, second baseman Miguel Rojas. Batting second, having a great day, filling in for Will Smith, 2 for 3 with 2 runs, catcher Ben Rortvedt. And batting third, 1 for 4 with a run and an RBI, DHing Shohei Ohtani. Bottom of the 7th inning, 7-2 Los Angeles. You want me to shout out the young Cook Lord from the East? No problem. Rhiannon in the building. All right, we'll see what Rojas, Rortvedt, and Ohtani do here late. Hayes is being moved to left field. Stewart at third. So the Reds are making some adjustments here late. And Benson in right field. First pitch to Miguel Rojas. Takes a strike looking low and away with the slurve ball, slider curve combo, 84 miles an hour. 0-1 count. And Tony Santillan on the mound. Let's see if I can get a photo quickly. And Rojas crushes that one, foul. Two balls and two strikes to Miguel Rojas. Santillan on the mound, Rojas in the box. Two-two pitch and a little slow dribbler, and that one goes foul. Two balls and two strikes from Santillan to Miguel Rojas. 26 hits by 10 different batters for the Dodgers. Slurve ball hit towards that third base line. It's fair. Throw to first, and he's safe. Nice hit there by Miguel Rojas. Normally we talk about Miguel with his defense flying in the air, but he has been able to get some critical hits in this series so far. Next up, catcher Ben Rortvedt. Santillan on the mound, Rortvedt in the box. Bottom of the seventh inning, 7-2 Dodgers. First pitch to Rortvedt, shows bunt, goes high and away, 1-0 count. I don't want to see anybody get hit in the face like Fry from Skubal when they're going in for a bunt and then they get hit square in the nose or the mouth and have to go to the hospital. One 0 pitch, bunt shown again, high and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Ben Rortvedt. How close are we to 75? Hopefully we're somewhat close to that number. 2-0 pitch, bunt show it again, and dribbles it right in front of the pitcher. Throw to first, and moves the runner over. And that is 1 away. Nice sack bunt there, and Rojas to second. 11 more, we can do it. Next up is Shohei Ohtani. And Shohei is intentionally walked, and the fans boo. They don't like that. Next up is Mookie Betts. And Mookie can make him pay with one swing. First pitch to Mookie, and kind of a half check swing there, and he goes around with a slurve ball by Santillan. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch to Mookie, and that one is fouled off, hitting the bat. No balls and 2 strikes to Mookie Betts. Oh, 2 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Mookie Betts. 1-2 pitch, low and away. Four-seam fastball missing by a few inches there. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mookie Betts. Bottom of the 7th, 7-2 Dodger lead with runners at first and second and 1 out. And this may be the first team that gets eliminated from the playoffs. And it wouldn't really surprise anybody because it's obviously the weakest team out of all the teams that had to play in the wild card. I mean, in other games, you know, getting to 5, you might have a good chance, but Dodgers in the postseason, it's like, man, you might have to hit 7 to 10 runs to even compete with them. Pitches outside, low and away. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Mookie Betts. 3-2 pitch, and he fouls that one off first base. Nice catch by that fan there. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Santillan to Mookie Betts. Runners at first and second with 1 out. 7-2 Dodger lead. And we gained a couple more subs. 53 to go to 22,400. Shout out to the 5 new subs that we have acquired today. Appreciate you guys very, very much. Three-two pitch from Santillan to Mookie Betts. 3-2. Fouls it behind the plate to the Geico side. Count still full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 1 out. 7-2 Los Angeles lead. Three-two pitch. And Mookie crushes it. Fair. Down that third baseline. Go, go, go. And that's going to bring in how many? And Ohtani gets held up. And Mookie with his 3rd double. Man, he is on fire. And again, you're going to, purposely, intentionally walk Shohei Ohtani. Good luck if you haven't been paying attention on how good Mookie has been doing. And now it's 8-2 Dodgers. And here we go. Next up is Freddie Freeman. Let's see if Freeman can add on for the Dodgers here. We have runners at second and third. If he gets a double, it'll be 10-2. Los Angeles. And there is going to be another pitching change, and that didn't last very long there for Santillan. His day is done. Dodgers have used 2 pitchers. The Reds are about to be on their 5th. Next up is Chase Burns coming in. Next up for the Reds is Chase Burns. Let's see if Freddie Freeman can get in on the action. 0 for 3 with a base on ball and a K. And obviously Mookie has been absolutely fantastic. And Simone is looking for hits with Freddie and Ellie. We'll see if that ends up happening before this game is up. Bottom of the 7th, 8-2 Los Angeles. In very firm control of their destiny here today. And with one swing, it could be 11-2. With another swing with a double, it could be 10-2. And with a single, it could be 9-2. So let's see what happens here with Chase Burns. Chase Burns on the mound. Freddie Freeman in the box. First pitch, high and away with a four-seam fastball, 100 miles an hour by Burns, the prospect. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, big swing and a miss, high and away to Freddie Freeman, who's 0 for 3 with a walk and a K. Bottom of the seventh, runners at second and third. Dodgers threatening again. 1-1 pitch, Freddie with a slow dribbler. And McLean with a nice defensive play, throw to first. And that is 2 away. And Shohei still stuck. And stay put there on third. Next up, 1 for 4 with 2 ribbies, Teoscar Hernandez, who can always bring that electricity on any given moment for the Dodgers. What a luxury to be able to have Mookie, Freddie, Shohei, and Teoscar. I mean, that's ridiculous. And it's like, not all 4 of those guys are going to be off, and if you have 1 or 2 off, you still have another 1 or 2. So, and Teoscar with a slow dribbler, Ellie, late throw, and got him supposedly at first. You might want to replay that. I don't know if he got him. Obviously, the Reds are trying to walk off, but the Dodgers are going to check to see if that was close. First look, it looked like he was safe, but I think Teoscar beat out that throw by Ellie. By the time the ball gets in the back of the mitt, the foot is already down on the bag, so I think they're going to get this call reversed. I mean, I guess if you're calling it in the webbing that he's out, but if it hits the back of the mitt, then obviously the foot is down. So I guess where are you going to call it there? As soon as it hits the webbing? But with the camera angle, when it gets into the webbing, the first baseman's foot is blocking, the foot of the Dodger player, Teoscar, so you can't even tell. You need to flip that camera angle. Wow, and they called it out. I mean, I want to see that reverse angle. Like, they're showing it going into the webbing, but as soon as the foot goes down, the other foot, it's like right next to it. You can't even see, but it's a bang-bang play. Hell, they're up 8-2, All right, so it is the end of the 7th inning, and that one could have went either way, but, I guess once it hits the webbing, then it doesn't have to go to the back of the mitt, but I guess you have to look pretty close and zoom in to see that. All right, let's see who's up next here for the Reds in the top of the 8th and see if they can get a little rally and get to at least, 4 or 5 before this game is up and their season's over. Next up, former Dodger, 1 for 3 with a run, DHing Gavin Lux. Batting second, 0 for 3 with a run, right fielder Austin Hayes. And batting third, 1 for 3 with 2 ribbies and a K, Sal Stewart. And we'll see if Blake Trinan goes back out there. I assume he will. I mean, obviously the review angles that we see on the broadcast are going to be different when they have, obviously at the replay center, that has all the monitors up, that have all the angles, but obviously they're not going to show, all of those, to the viewers. Obviously they can show where all the monitors are at, like kind of from far away, and they can show all the angles there, but you're not close enough to any of the screens to really like definitively see, unless they actually zoom in on one, obviously at the replay station and whatnot. Top of the 8th inning, 8-2 Los Angeles. And they got Sheehan coming in, so they did make a change. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. Emmett Sheehan coming in there for the Dodgers. Gavin Lux in the box. 1-0 pitch and a nice hit into left field. Oh, that gets past Kike. And a nice double there for Gavin Lux against his former team. Next up is Austin Hayes. Reds trying to rally here late. Emmett Sheehan on the mound. Austin Hayes in the box. First pitch, low and away. Four-seam fastball missing there by a few inches, 95 miles an hour. 1-0 count. One 0 pitch from Sheehan. Check swing. Did he go? No, he did not. 2 balls and no strikes from Sheehan to Hayes. Seems like Sheehan is about to have a meltdown. 2-0 pitch. Low and away. 3 balls and no strikes from Sheehan to Hayes. .30 pitch. Takes a strike looking right down the middle. Finally a good pitch from Emmett. 95 miles an hour with that four-seam fastball. 3 balls and 1 strike to Austin Hayes with a runner at second and no outs, down by 6 with the season on the line. 3-1 pitch, gets a strike looking inside and on the line. Another four-seam fastball bringing the heater. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Austin Hayes. 3-2 pitch. Fouled it off into right field. Four-seam fastball, 97 miles an hour by Emmett Sheehan. Sheehan on the mound. Austin Hayes in the box. .3-2 pitch, low and away, and that's a walk. And now you got runners at first and second with no outs. Not sure if this was the ideal pitcher to bring in, but again, the Dodgers, if they have a weakness, it's the bullpen. And again, you're definitely seeing it kind of get exposed. And obviously the Brewers and the Phillies are looking at this part of Los Angeles very closely, just like a lot of us in the American League are. If they're able to get past, some of these other teams, it could be something that gets exploited in the World Series. But the Mariners have had their fair share of meltdowns as well from Brash and Vargas and a few others. So we understand that kind of pain, when you have a guy that coming in or multiple guys coming in fucking up. But But obviously the Dodgers offense can make up for a meltdown here and there with 3 first ballot Hall of Famers with Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman at the top of the order, and then Teoscar right after them. Pitches low and away. He can't hit the strike zone. 1-0 count. I mean, at this point, if they just don't swing, hell, they might be able to get bases loaded and get some freebies in. Sal Stewart, the hero early on with the 2-run RBI single to give them the 2-0 lead, but they have not got anything since. 1-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Sal Stewart. If Stewart is just patient here, I don't think you're going to get 3 strikes in a row from Sheehan. You just, sit there and be patient and just wait for the balls to come, and you'll have bases loaded with no outs. But I don't know if Sal is that patient as a rookie. 2-0 pitch, fouls that one off towards third base with a laser, foul. 2 balls and 1 strike to Sal Stewart. Emmett Sheehan on the mound, Sal Stewart in the box. Two-one pitch, fouled off into right field with the slider, 86 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Sheehan to Stewart. Top of the 8th inning, 8-2 Dodgers. And a line drive hit there. That comes down right in front of the right fielder, waving him home as my pup comes in here missing dad. And just like that, Gavin Lux comes home with a big hit by Stewart. 8-3 Dodgers. Next up is shortstop Ellie De La Cruz. I mean, if there was a time that you needed Ellie to go yard for a 3-run blast, it's right now. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. Ellie De La Cruz in the box. Emmett Sheehan on the mound. Paisley made an appearance there. When she was younger, she would let me hold her, on stream sometimes for minutes at a time, sometimes even 5 to 10 minutes. But now as she's, getting a little bit older, she'll handle it for a little bit, 10 to 30 seconds. And then usually she'll want to, explore in my room or, walk around, look for snacks and whatnot. So play with some toys, rest. 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss there by Ellie after fouling off that second pitch right down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Sheehan to De La Cruz. All right, she's content over there, sitting down over her little bedding area. Good girl. She's the best. Love her. One-two pitch from Sheehan, and De La Cruz crushes that towards left field. Foul. Top of the 8th, 8-3 Dodger lead with runners at first and second and no outs. Sheehan having a little bit of a mini meltdown. And De La Cruz in the box. 0 for 3 with 2 Ks. I mean, again, if you're going to be a star in this league, you got to play great in the postseason. Pitches low and at the knees. Count now is 2 balls and 2 strikes to Ellie De La Cruz. Yeah, I did have her. She's still in here, but we'll see if I can. She'll let me pick her up again before the stream ends. But I did bring her up on the stream, and the pitch gets behind him. And that gets past Rortvedt, and now runners advance to second and third with no outs. If you rewind the stream a little bit, you'll be able to see her. But I'll see if she stays in the room by the time the game ends. She may let me pick her up again. Kind of depends on her mood. 3-2 pitch. And that's a walk to Ellie De La Cruz, and Emmett Sheehan having a meltdown. And again, this is the way that you beat the Dodgers. Again, the Phillies and the Brewers and the Padres, a few other teams, even the Cubs, they might be better suited, in the pen than the Dodgers. And again, they don't really have very many weaknesses, but one weakness is definitely their bullpen this year. Got bases loaded with no outs. Just imagine if the Dodgers weren't sitting at 8 and they were at 5. And hard hit into left field. Kike Hernandez catches it. Sack, fly, caught up and tagged up and coming home. And now we have an 8-4 ball game. Because at some point, the Dodgers, it's going to come back to bite them, where they don't score as many runs. They're still at like 5 or 6. But then the other team is like, a few runs away. And then all of a sudden they give up like 4 and then they lose the game, where it ends up being like a 6-2 lead. And then they end up losing 7-6. Like at some point, if you play like this against the Phillies or the Brewers or the Cubs, you're going to be in some danger. And again, obviously you're not worrying about it at this moment because you're still up by 4. But top of the 8th with runners at first and second and 1 out. I mean, if they were sitting at like 5 or 6 right now, they would be on the cusp of potentially losing. And obviously putting up 8 has definitely helped them out, not only today, but also yesterday as well, when they were at 8-0 and the Reds scored 5, but then the Dodgers scored 2 more to finish the game off at a 10-5 final. 0-1 pitch to Will Benson, takes a strike looking high and inside. No balls and 2 strikes to Will Benson. Emmett Sheehan on the mound. Will Benson in right field in the box. Yeah, if you go to my Instagram and scroll through all the Mariner photos, you will see some photos of her when she was a baby. So recent photos when I take her to, get her nails trimmed and dremeled. Then I do a self-wash with like 5 different shampoos to make sure that she smells good and feels good and whatnot. So there'll be some other photos there to kind of take a look for the wifey. Pitches inside as Will Benson goes down and let goes of the bat there momentarily. And that might be it for Sheehan. Yeah, she is. Like I said, I haven't had a bad day in like 2 years, since she's been with me. Obviously with my ex-girlfriend, we, kind of did the co-parenting thing for like the first like year and a half. But obviously when you have one person that, is kind of more focused on partying and then another person that's got dreams and goals, it doesn't make sense, to have a pup if you're not going to love it or give it attention and whatnot. So, obviously it's helped, me with my mental health as well as my physical health, since I've been, with her at this location. I've dropped 90 pounds. I've kept it off for 2 years. I'm doing 3 walks a day, walking 5 miles a day, 7 days a week, no days off. And we do a morning and afternoon and a late night walk. And again, when you end up exercising that much, you have no time to be depressed or, to have anxiety because, you're keeping busy, you're staying healthy. And on top of that, I'm eating healthy as well. I don't eat really fast food or drink soda and whatnot. And, if you can make those adjustments with your, eating habits as well as exercise, and then having something to make you smile and happy every day, like my pup, it really does, make a difference. But again, you also have to, put in the effort a lot of people that have dogs or cats, they don't really put a lot of effort, and again, what you pour in, to a person or an animal is what you're going to get back in return with the love. Obviously, not all the time with a human. Obviously, we know divorce rates are, 50% or higher. But as far as a pup, they're going to love you unconditionally, no matter if you're rich or poor, no matter, what race you are or how old you are. It doesn't matter if you're a male or female. And that's, one special thing, for dogs and for pups, their personality, but their unconditional love. And I don't think I've ever loved anything more in my life than my pup. And, I definitely try to make every day, a very special day for both of us. All right, Vesia is coming in. All right, Alex Vesia coming in to see if they can shut the door down here on Will Benson. Runners at first and second with one out. And again, the Dodgers have been lucky that when these meltdowns have happened, they've had a huge lead. But there's going to be a time where the game is close, like 5-3 against the Phillies, if that's what we get. And the Phillies are going to come back and beat them. And depending on, what the series is at that point, that could be the deciding factor of who ends up advancing between the Phillies and Dodgers, based on, bullpen. And again, we know how good Philadelphia is. And Vesia gets Will Benson. Big, wild swing there. Andujar was pinch hitting and struck out there. And next up is Matt McLain. So you had Benson and then Andujar pinched hit, and now you got Matt McLain, who made a couple kind of bugaboo, plays, with his mitt early on where it could have had some easy outs, but we'll see if Vesia can shut the door down here. Yeah. And again, once you get to a point where, you end up having the pup, you just make sure, you're giving it all the love and attention that it deserves. And, I live my life, for her and for the channel. Those are the two most important things in my life. And, if you're, dedicated and you put in the effort, you definitely will get the results in return and the love in return as well. 2-0 pitch from Vesia to McLain. And we're getting another meltdown. High and away, 3 balls and no strikes from Vesia to McLain. Shows you how important the bullpen is. You can have amazing starters. You can have 3 guys that start your lineup that are first ballot Hall of Famers. But if you don't have a good bullpen, at some point, that's going to cost you a World Series or a deep run, especially if you have a team like Philadelphia that could beat you. And I think a lot of people, as good as the Dodgers are this year, are leaning Philadelphia. And especially Philadelphia in Philadelphia, a very hard, place to get wins. That's facts. But you could also say the same thing. It's hard to win in Los Angeles as well. But Philly's crowd is a little bit more rowdy. In there for a strike. Takes 2 strikes looking there back to back. Three-two pitch and a walk. Wow. Vesia having a meltdown like Emmett Sheehan. And again, now you got bases loaded with 2 outs and you're down by 4. Could you imagine somehow, some way, the sports gods allow the power to go into the hands of TJ Friedl and he goes for a grand salami to tie the game up? Could you imagine? First pitch from Vesia to Friedl. And it's not like it's just one guy on the Dodger bullpen that's fucking up. There's been multiple guys during the regular season and now in the postseason. So, it's definitely a big concern. And that would be something that you would think that they would have, maybe tried to correct at the deadline or in the offseason. And obviously they'll be looking at that in the, offseason next year. But big swing and a miss there, went around. No balls and 2 strikes to TJ Friedel with bases loaded, down by 4 with 2 outs. Time is running out with the Reds here today. Bases loaded. 0-2 count. Down by 4. 8-4 Dodger lead. 0-2 pitch from Vesia to Friedel. Outside. 4-seam fastball missing the zone. 1 ball and 2 strikes to TJ Friedel. You would assume that you'll be okay with the money line. But again, with the Dodger pen, it's, multiple guys that, just can't hit the strike zone. And they scored 5 runs late. The Reds did. So you never know. I mean, it took them 2 innings to get 5, 1 inning with 2 and another with 3, but pitch is low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to TJ Friedel. Two pitch from Vesia, and that one is fouled off and out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes, bases loaded, 2 outs. Dodgers 8, Reds 4, and again, the Dodgers are almost like too good for this. But again, at some point, you're going to see, positives and negatives with your team. And we thought the Mariners, had a bad pen at one point or another. But if you look at our players in the pen compared to theirs, ours is much better. Yeah, we've had a few guys had some meltdowns, but we're more consistent when they got. And that's crushed foul again, back-to-back foul balls by TJ Friedel. Top of the 8th, 8-4 Dodger lead, bases loaded, 2 outs. And again, we've seen Carlos Vargas fuck up. We've seen Brash fuck up lately, but 3-2 pitch, and that's a big strikeout. And the Dodgers now can breathe a sigh of relief with Vesia coming up big with a strikeout, looking on TJ Friedel. Way to bring the electricity, and now the Dodger fans, including my dad, can breathe. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 8th and see if the Dodgers can add on any more. Next up, 1 for 2 with a run and a base on ball, Max Muncy. Batting second, 0 for 3 with a K, center fielder Andy Pajes. And batting third, 2 for 4 with 2 runs and a ribby, left fielder Kike Hernandez. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 75 likes, 100 on the dono train, and we're looking for 5 to 15 subs. Dodgers could win it. They're definitely, their pen is, obviously not very good, but they're still good enough to win it. Based off their starting pitching and having 3 Hall of Famers. And then on top of that, having guys like Teoscar Hernandez and a few others that step up in the postseason like Kike, so, because again, we think like the Phillies look like probably the best team, and they got probably the loudest fans at home, but again, you never know how the series will play out. The Dodgers win this series, and they play the Phillies, they could beat them. I mean, it's possible. And then obviously on the flip side, you're going to get either Brewers and Cubs, obviously divisional rivals, or you're going to get Brewers and Padres. So, I mean, nobody really knows how it's going to play out. Just like tomorrow, we don't know who's going to win between the Guardians and Tigers. We don't know who's going to win between the Yankees and the Red Sox. It's literally 50-50 right down the middle. So you don't really know. So that's what makes this year kind of special. We kind of have an idea of, what we think the strongest teams are, but until the games are played, no one knows, because again, you could have a really good record and choke, right? Like the Brewers could end up playing, the Padres and the Cubs, and they could lose, even though they had an amazing, regular season and had the best road record out of any team. But that doesn't mean that they're going to go on a deep run. They could lose to the Cubs, or the Padres. So we will find out. Mariners are better than the Blue Jays, but obviously you're not a fan that watches West Coast baseball, so you'll see. But if we end up playing the Blue Jays in the ALCS, it'll be must-see TV. And if anybody's got the Blue Jays numbers, it's us. Yeah, our team wasn't good enough back then. Yeah, there you go. You're from Toronto. That makes sense. Most fans are incredibly biased based off their team and players. Yeah, but the difference between the 2001 team and this team is deeper. You know, top to bottom, pitching staff, bullpen, farm, and obviously bench. You know, we haven't ever had a team this strong, so. But it's still up to the players to bring it. You know, even though we feel like we got the deepest roster out of any team in the American League, we have to earn it. And we'll see if they can earn it. Big swing and a miss there on Pages. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Andy Pages. No, I just wear Mariner gear 24/7, and I'm the #1 content creator for Seattle for fun. Of course. Big swing and a miss for Pages, and that is 2 away. Next up is Kike Hernandez. Slow dribbler, throw to first. And that's the end of the inning there. All right, Reds, last chance. Your season on the line here in the top of the 9th. And Roki Sasaki is coming in. All right, Sasaki coming in. Let's see who is left here for the Reds. Next up, 1 for 3 with a K, Spencer Steer. Batting second, 2 for 4 with 2 runs, DHing Gavin Lux, going against his former team, the Dodgers. And batting third, 0 for 3 with 2 runs and a base on ball, right fielder Austin Hayes. Yeah, this game is already over. I mean, unless you end up getting a meltdown like you got from Sheehan and, Vesia, but I'm not sure if you're going to get it from Sasaki, but we'll find out. I mean, they may end up scoring 1 or 2, but I don't think they're going to score 4 to tie it or 5 to win it here. But they may give up 1 or 2. That wouldn't shock me. But again, the Reds are the worst team, out of all the teams that are in the wild card. So the Mets would have given up a better fight, even though they had the meltdown in the second half of the season. But we will see. First pitch from Roki Sasaki to Spencer Steer. 100 miles an hour there. That's strike one, 0-1 count. Sasaki on the mound, Steer in the box. Pitches inside, 1 ball and 1 strike after that splitter misses by a few inches to Spencer Steer. Top of the 9th, 8-4 Dodger lead. One pitch, fouled off into right field, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Sasaki to Steer. And Sasaki's got a little bit more command and control than Sheehan and Vesia, so not to say that he can't fuck up and have a mini meltdown, but I'm pretty sure he's going to mow him down here. And check swing, and runner goes to first, throw to first, 1 away. Next up is Gavin Lux. Never seen an Asian guy before, TJ? First pitch to Gavin Lux. Big swing and a miss, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, big swing and a miss. Sasaki is wheeling and dealing. No creepiness here, just a Japanese stud named Roki Sasaki. 0-2 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Gavin Lux. I mean, obviously he's not as good as Yamamoto, but the Japanese pipeline is true. I mean, that's what Japanese people look like, my guy. I would know, I'm half. Big swing and a miss. Down he goes. And that is 2 away. Bring that electricity, Sasaki. And potentially the last batter for the Cincinnati Reds in the 2025 season, right fielder Austin Hayes. And that is dropped. Come on, Rortvat. I mean, the best chance that they had was when they had the bases loaded there in the 8th. That was their opportunity. Rortvat with the error. 0-1 pitch. Fouls it off himself. No balls and 2 strikes to Austin Hayes. Down to their last strike for their season. Let's see if Roki can get it done. Top of the 9th, 8-4 Dodger lead. Oh, 2 pitch. And line drive. And it's caught, baby. Mookie Betts. And that is it. You're good, TJ. And a nice job there by Sasaki closing the door. And the Dodgers advance to the Phillies. And that's going to be must-see TV. I almost wish that we had Dodgers versus Phillies in the NLCS, to make it to the World Series. But obviously the Brewers earned the right, to be able to be in that position because they had a better, obviously, record and got the bye, over the Dodgers. And that's why we have Milwaukee and Philly, obviously, in the bye. So, but the Dodgers are going to be one of those teams that legitimately has a chance They do have a shitty bullpen, but obviously got the job done. Final score, Dodgers 8, Reds 4. Dodgers advance to the Phillies in the National League NLDS. And then we'll see where it kind of goes from there. And then tomorrow, we obviously have 3 options. Obviously, with the Guardians and Tigers, that's at 10 a.m. And then you got the Cubs and Padres, I believe around noon. And then Yankees, Red Sox, I assume will be around 3, like the previous 2 days. But more than likely, we'll probably do the Niners and the Rams because it's Thursday night football and it's on a little bit later. So more people will be available. But if I change my mind and end up doing one of the other 3 matchups, really the only matchup I think I would be willing to do is the Guardians and the Tigers. I don't really care for the Yankees and Red Sox. And the Cubs and Padres, I don't really have a connection. I'd be rooting for the Cubs to be able to win and be the underdog. But I think it'll either be Guardians, Tigers at 10 a.m. or we'll do Thursday night football with Rams and Niners. So those will probably be the 2 options. Obviously, the winner of the Tigers and Guardians play the Mariners. So that's why we're interested. And then if I don't do that, if I don't have enough time in the morning, then we'll end up just doing Thursday night football with the Rams and the Niners. So that's kind of where I'm leaning just based off the time. So love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. TJ, thank you for all the support and the help to be able to help us hit higher numbers. Appreciate you very much. Shout out to University with the $25 dono, helping us making sure that we're getting something for the hard work that's being put out here today. And I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. And hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your Wednesday night. Final score, Dodgers 8, Reds 4. My dad is happy. And again, we'll be live tomorrow for either Tigers Guardians at 10 a.m. or the Niners and the Rams for Thursday night football. And I got one question for you. Who talks sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, and I'm out. Okay.